But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Yo ho, yo ho. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It's Thursday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things, you may ask? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We got a doozy for you tonight. All the great help from all the great people that are part of the Troubled Minds community. It's really been a blessing and honor, and a lot of smart folks always contributing ideas for shows. And I always think that we can't outdo ourselves because we tend to put up, for the most part, we're pretty solid with putting up some pretty good shows here. But the fallacies are mine, not the community. It is no lack of amazing ideas from the community, and so hopefully I can just pull them off right. And I got you guys, and so it's a beautiful thing. I can't thank you all enough for being part of this. So as we start, right, there's a lot to not just the show here. Like I said, it's one of those things where it's lots to talk about. It's an incredible world we live in, an incredible universe, and all of this is just Fortean. It is what do you call it? It would be magnificent. It would be, I don't know, mind-boggling is another way to put it. But there's so much out there that, it may be propaganda, it may be BS, it may be somewhere in between. But also always with the idea that maybe there's something to some of these mythologies, something to magic or something to manifestation and things like this, right? I think that's it's an important concept for me, at least to continue dreaming, right? As children, we dream a lot about a lot of things, the old Peter Pan trope and the rest of that, kind of believing in a world that's more magical than the world we live in. Well, tonight we're going to explore some of that magical world and look into some pretty dark things because, well, you can't have magic without having black magic, without having the dark, the scary arts, right? And something like that. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to get there in just a second. Hope you're into the paranormal and the magic business and the esoteric because that's what's on my mind tonight. Shout out to Rivers, the Night Stalker, James, and company out there for inspiring this show and helping with some of the details. And there we go. There's where the individuals came from. The individuals responsible. So when this is amazing, you can blame them. All right, let's go. So the deal is as you know, like I'm a purveyor of news cycles. I semi-pro conspiracy theorist, I like to call myself, and I do I've been dubbed by the king of synchromysticism there, the Night Stalker. He dubbed me a synchromystic in my own right these days. So I'll take that and put it in my back pocket, because why not? But the idea tonight is that, like I said, the world is different than we perceive it to be, and in many ways we're going to talk about that but in the context tonight, in the context of actual war, because of course, war in Ukraine, war is on the top of mind all the time, because politics and more war, and well, here you go. Here we are living in this world of politics and war, which is unfortunate, but that's I digress there, because that's a whole nother thing, for a whole nother time. But okay, so as I'm saying, and all these great folks that have contributed to these shows, like I said, I'm just me. I'm little old me. I do my best, but the secret weapon of troubled minds is you. I don't have any inside sources. I don't have, nobody's whispering in my ear or magically putting ideas in my head. I'm just trying to work really hard and get us some good things, interesting things to talk about, right? And so tonight, as we do this, we're doing it live. We always do this live to include you. And as part of that, we have open lines. And love to hear your thoughts on these ideas. Just sort of engage that troubled mind of yours and consider that this stuff may be true. And what if it is, right? What if it's not? That's okay. Because we take all comers here. And if you're a skeptic and you don't believe any bit of this, that's totally cool. Because I'm not sure where I stand, to be perfectly honest. And we're talking about magic tonight. But speaking of magic, like I said, the secret weapon of troubled minds is you. We do it with open lines, and if you want to be part of the show tonight, we are streaming, of course, on Rockfin, YouTube, D Live, and Twitter, and broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And if you do want to be part of the show, you can dial the phone at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as simple as that. And let's see, let me do another quick shout out here as well. We are actually on terrestrial radio on in Pahrump. Let me find the actual. I'm a clown because I don't have the thing here. The Pahrump Freedom Radio, we're on there. So shout out to those guys out in Pahrump. As everybody knows, Pahrump Freedom Radio is from a town just outside of Las Vegas, known as Pahrump. It's Art Bell territory. He actually moved out there, retired out there, and unfortunately he also passed away out there. But he was broadcasting from a ranch out there in Pahrump. And so we're broadcasting on 98.1 KPFV, Pahrump Freedom Radio. Shout out to those guys as well. All right, so let's do this. We got that. What do we got? 702-957-1037. You can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website of this show. A number of ways to support the show if you want to do that. If you want Troubled Minds merch, we got hats, t-shirts, stickers, mouse pads, etc., so on, and more stuff coming up every week. Go to troubledfans.com. That's the official merchandise store of Troubled Minds, and we've had some sales there, some hats, and people are sending me their pictures of their hats. I appreciate that very much, guys. Thanks for loving the show. Thanks for loving the ideas, and thanks for supporting us. A few other ways you can sub up on Patreon, of course. Rockfin's another way. Rockfin's a free speech platform, very similar to YouTube, without all the garbage stuff YouTube tries to make you eat. And well, it's kind of like clean eating, right? That's Rockfin compared to YouTube. They don't do a lot of the censorship stuff, and they actually pay, if you can believe that, they pay in crypto for you guys watching over there. So I appreciate the Rockfin fam. Shout out to you guys I see out there. And what else do we got? One more thing. I think you could sub up on Twitch as well. We do a Monday and Friday news show, etc., so on, blah, blah, blah. All right. We're also broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Please join the Discord at, again, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, or you can also go to fringe.fm/chat, and that will give you a direct invite to the Fringe Discord, and we'll put you on the show that way with the Troubled Minds Discord, of course. But I'm watching all the chat in all the places, and I'm trying to incorporate your ideas into the show as we go. And there we go. Like I said, the secret weapon of Troubled Minds is you. So that's it. That's how we do. That's how we start. Let's begin, shall we? Let us begin, shall we? Got some questions for you tonight. The first question is this, as we begin, right? We've talked about magic in lots of different ways. We've talked about, Merlin and wizards and things like this. We've talked about druids and the occult. We've talked about spells and witchcraft, Wicca rituals, and all kinds of stuff right on this show. We've kind of ranged far and wide, as you know. But is it possible, number one, the first question is this tonight. The question's for you guys. Is it possible that the wars that are being fought, talking about wars and talking about the rest of this type of stuff, politics and war, do you think that maybe there's a third layer to this, in that politics and war is one part and two parts of this sort of unholy trinity? What about a third? A third of maybe dark magic or black magic or magic at all, period. That's sort of an underlying, let's say, even a prominent force in modern or even ancient warfare. That's what's on my mind tonight. That's the question we had, and there's a lot of reasons to kind of think in those terms, and we'll get to that in just a sec. But that's the first question. Do you think it's possible that somewhere out there there's an occult war that's actually happening behind the scenes that is doing things like reading astrology for favorable times to attack or favorable times to start a war or things like this? Do you think that something like this is actually happening out there, sort of like divination in some terms, but also how about active magic? Do you think that in some cases before, let's say, a battle begins, spells somewhere in some dark basement are being cast to maybe help the invaders or the defenders or both, right, from both sides? Do you think that this is actually going on, and that it's a behind the scenes sort of a magical situation that is sort of unknown because, of course, right, clandestine sort of activities like spy work and some of this other stuff, right? Clearly you don't know exactly what's going on with that, but in the second hand, you would expect some of this stuff to be kept secret, okay? And so that's what's on my mind tonight. We're going to get to. We got some good articles to get to and some good actual historical context, which may surprise you. Not just World War II, of course, very famous for its occult roots with Nazis and all the rest of that stuff kind of doing their thing. But, I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot to these ideas. And so that's the question tonight. That's where we begin. Do you think it's possible that somehow there is an occult war actually happening with these magical powers, clandestine style, behind the scenes, maybe in places, dark places where people, let's see, are not meant to tread? So I'd love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show, and it's as simple as that. Speaking of that, before we get to the article, we got a call. Let's go to the phone call. Let's go straight to Joe in Florida. I made you wait last time. No waiting today. How are you, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds.
Not too bad. I just figured let me call early because I got a bunch of stuff I'm working on, and I've been busy bee. But sure. It's funny because, again, King of Synchronicity, that's a real good one. My mom and I and some other people having a conversation about what's going on with Roe versus Wade and all of those things. And I basically said there's a spiritual war going on, and there are a sect of people that believe in the second, that they want to bring about the second coming. Whether it's war, that's the biggest war. When the Megiddo army up there really quick, because you just tuned in. But over times, of course, people made sacrifices to gods before war. And as gods changed and gods evolved into one god, whatever the heck that is, maybe the beliefs have changed a little bit, but there's still sacrifice. Now, maybe we don't do blood sacrifice, but every pastor that gets up there asking for money is asking for a tid, is asking for a sacrifice. And that money is in turn put into politics and into voices and into decisions that affect us and infuriate us. And the biggest war could quite literally still be the Second Civil War. Real funny that you're doing this show tonight. I just watched Strange New Worlds. First episode came out tonight for Star Trek. And it's a reflection of, it's not a reflection, it's a telling of what our future is like. And they tell it to another species on the show without giving too much away. And it dictated or it preached from directly what's going on in the headlines now. And they mentioned the Second Civil War. in America. You know, coincidences, whatever, but that's the biggest thing, and it's an evolution. That's, you know, my quickest thought. I'm sure if I'm up after midnight, I could call. It's a great debate. This should be a good show. I hope everybody calls in. But, yeah, the occult, for sure. Totally, for sure. I mean, we know Rasputin over there in Russia. Who knows what this guy's got now? Dave Venga, not that many of them predicted to go into war, but they may have seen future probabilities. And whether the occult or sacrifice or any of those things actually have magic or not, there'll always be snake oil salesmen or false prophets that will lead us into war, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Magic doesn't even have to exist. You just have to believe what somebody's saying, and that's the magic, I guess, in itself.
Yeah, the magic of war propaganda, right? That's a whole nother one entirely. That's a whole nother show. Back to that meme magic sort of thing. The idea of propaganda to sort of manufacture consent. That would be the term, right? Consent for war, consent for killing each other, and celebrating it. It's a wild world we live in that you're like, hey, war's fine as long as you're on the correct side of it, the virtue signal side of it. But in the reality is war's ugly and people die on both sides, and it's an ugly thing. Interesting. So not only that, so we were kind of kicking this idea around a little bit before the show. Again, shout out to Rivers, Night Stalker James for helping kind of set this up. We were talking about these ideas, and Rivers mentioned that there's, it is interesting that there's this idea of play by the rules in war, or this type of thing. That was sort of her sentiment, and I butchered it. But it led me down another idea that I kicked in on top and said, well, look, isn't it strange that we have like the Geneva Conventions, and we've come up with these different ways in warfare that it's acceptable to kill each other, right? And it's like, so warfare one way is okay, right? But warfare another way is not okay. And I know there's reasons for that. You don't want like horrific torture and all kinds of stuff. But I mean, if we're being completely real, do you think like people in the middle of like a battle zone, like pull out their, Geneva Convention and check before they pull some, to kill the next guy? I mean, it seems so silly. And so the idea popped up again, and Night Stalker kind of chimed in a little bit, of course, like he does, and added some magic to it. And I thought this, right, on top of it, do you think it's possible then with sort of this Geneva Convention, it's almost like, I hate to be crude here, but like like ritual slaughter, in that if everything's like done just appropriately in these warfare calculations or these warfare treaties or whatever they have, that maybe that the warfare itself is part of the magic. Like the magic, maybe the propaganda magic, let's say in those terms, the meme magic manufactures consent, but then the actual war itself is sort of like ritual slaughter on a mass scale. What do you think about that?
Well, let's look at that. I think that hits on something that I spoke about, not on the show, but was thinking about the last few days. So let's not delude ourselves, whatever spirituality we might believe in. We all function by the greenback and the god of the dollar. And money is your god, Shepherd Fairy, the stickers, whatever, if you know who Shepherd Fairy is. Money is your god. So let's just prop that up. And let's look at what has to feed the engine of capitalism. What has to feed that engine? Military-industrial complex. Did one come before the other? I mean, Rome's treasury ran dry with expansion. We've learned through history, and we try to modify that. Capitalism now has the ability to change itself like a god, mimic things, maybe act for the people, maybe act against the people. But all of us in the world are tied to that dollar. We're tied to that religion. And one could argue that maybe it's better because since World War II, we've so far avoided world-engulfing destruction for smaller conflicts, except for the one that's really going on now. And there's talk of other countries splitting off from our belief system, let's put it. And let's look at what the communists have built, using our capitalist system. And look what we've built using their manufacturing. So if we look at it that way, acceptable sacrifice to feed that machine, to build more weapons, to build more bullets. Okay? And if you remember, I think it was Spies Like Us. It was Spies Like Us, I think. A weapon unused is not a weapon. Things like that, war is the nature of invention.
Right.
All of those things. It's a shame to say it, but if we're going to look at the conflict here briefly, because that's not a political debate, but in general, it's a total failure of diplomacy that's been going on since the fall of the wall over there. So sacrifices happen. They might happen over oil. They might happen. A lot of times they do happen over. Lately, they've happened over oil. Let's face it. Most of the conflicts really over oil in the Middle East. Most of the ones we have marched off to. Now there's one going on for we don't. Whatever. But yes, I think you're right. I think sometimes they go around the back door. But who's left to fight? What are we accomplishing? Nobody. It's obvious nobody can invade anybody anymore. So do we just send the poor people to die so we can build more garbage and have more bills? Do we maybe release a virus, whether it was by accident or created, so we could put Americans in debt with hospital bills? Because I'm wondering who's going to pay that. But we have to feed that machine with our sacrifice.
There you go. It's so we pay in blood. I'm glad you mentioned oil because I was going to say the petrodollar. So isn't it crazy that you said the almighty religion is the greenbacks, and it leads back to oil, the Texas tea, the black oil. I mean, it seems it almost seems just in itself the system is a ritual. It's sick, Joe. It's sick, Joe. How do we find ourselves here?
That's exactly it. If we're in the system, how would we ever know to get out of it? Don't get me wrong. It's Neil Ferguson's book, The Ascent of Money. The Medicis and insurance and money and the rise of these things helped us spring out of feudalism and help us, to spring out. But we have to know that the last great awakening, maybe in this country, we could say it was the 60s, maybe we could argue that, but really, in my opinion, the last great awakening was unions, FDR, and strengthening workers, because we're the ones ultimately that have to feed that machine. The Great Resignation, without workers, nothing happens. Nothing moves. It's too early for robots just yet. But, there's a method to everything, and then I start to look at what happens with the Supreme Court, and if the birth rate is declining, that's a whole other political debate. It's a whole other debate. But yes, the system. Now, whether that's Moloch, the money, there's something greater pulling the strings that we just can't touch on, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I've always said, and I said it on this show, that the president's hair turns white. I wonder if they put him in a room and he sees the ark or he sees something that's not from here. I hear the music. I will let you go.
You're the best, Joe. I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in. Glad you're feeling better. Always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night, bro. Joe in Florida. Good night. All right, so there you go. That's a great way to start us off. I appreciate the phone call early. Look, we're talking about this idea of occult war. Does magic actually play a role in warfare? All right, a good way to start us off with Joe, and we got into the petrodollar right off the bat, and the greenback and the new religion. What do you think? Love to hear your thoughts on this as we get into more. There's articles and everything coming up. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More occult warfare, magic, Ukraine, and your calls when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM as part of Fringe Late Night. Tonight, we're discussing the idea of occult magic influencing or even participating in actual warfare. Do you think this is possible? Do you think there's any historic precedent? Do you think there's anything, let's say, in the modern propaganda media even discussing this? Well, you're in for a treat, because you're damn right there is. You bet your bippy, as my grandfather would say. So, love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of this conversation, great call from Joe to start us off, talking about the petrodollar, the almighty greenback, the new religion, and basically we're pawns in that system, all right? That's a great way to start us off. What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as simple as that. Let's get to this. Let's get started with where this began. If you guys saw this, you may not be surprised, but check this out. This is from Vice.com, all right? And Vice says this. Russian state media claims to discover militarized Ukrainian witches. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Yeah, actually, Vice said it via Tech by Vice, Motherboard, and in a recent report from a village near Luhansk, I guess you can have to actual. Let's say, excuse my Russian, because I don't speak Russian. Anyway, Russian journalists claim to have discovered the remnants of occult rituals in a building once used by Ukrainian soldiers. And if you're watching the stream, you see, I don't know, it looks like bad graffiti to me, but apparently this is supposed to be some sort of a occult ritual thing. It just looks like bad graffiti to me. But what do I know? I'm not a trained ritualist or whatever. So anyway, let's read just a little bit about this, and let's see, make sure the lines are clear, everything's good. All right, we're nice and clear. Everything's fine. All right, it looks like we got Daryl. We'll get to it. Daryl, let me know in the chat if you're ready to go. Straight from the article, Vice.com. The Kremlin-owned news organization RIA Novosti, anyway, is claiming that its journalists discovered signs of black magic in a village in East Ukraine. The journalists claimed that evidence of magic was found in what is claimed to be the headquarters of a Ukrainian military unit. Quote, a satanic seal was found on its wall, evoking associations with Hollywood films about evil spirits, RIA said in its report. This starts out so good right off the bat. The graffiti on the wall looks like a sigil, a kind of magical seal used for various purposes by practitioners. It's a circle with various squiggles in the middle and the word Zein, Z-E-I-N, written below it. RIA shared photos of the sigil as well as a walkthrough of the house on its Telegram channel. Oh, thank goodness for Telegram channels. According to Ekaterina Dais, D-A-I-S, a Russian culturologist RIA spoke with, the sigil is a magical symbol. Quote, what it means is difficult to say for sure. In it, you can see both the inverted sign of anarchy and part of the SS sign. The rune Zig, Z-I-G, it is clearly visible in the extreme left sector of the circle, and the Hebrew letter Zain, Z-A-I-N, written in German, meaning a sword or weapon, Dais told RIA. According to RIA, Ukrainian soldiers gathered in this place to consecrate weapons with blood magic. Among the headquarters instructions, they found a press release from the Ukrainian security forces with a story about losses in the Donbass region. The story said, according to a translation provided by Google, quote, there are lines of blood on the document, although there are no such traces anywhere else. All right, well, there you go. There's where we start. Now, of course, in the most basic terms, just the cynical a-hole in me wants to say Russian propaganda, all right? This is another way to malign the Ukrainian forces and just say, look, they're into black magic. The devil is in them, and we are trying to chase the devil out. We are the righteous victors, and they are but the scourge of society. Well, I'm not so sure that's the case, but look for yourself again. All the, as always, all my articles that I'm referencing are linked in the description down below. You can find that stuff on, of course, on YouTube, because shout out to Rockfin. If you're out there listening, Jaime, can we add some more? Actually, you know what? I got a way around that. Never mind. We're good. Rockfin's good. All right, so here's the thing, right? Regarding militarized Ukrainian witches, okay? Now, I don't know if this is just some bad graffiti or if this is actually some sort of a occult symbol. And of course, we know how propaganda and warfare and blaming each other and false flags and all this stuff, it all works anyway. Meaning that, let's say that this was not even what they say it is, and let's say they painted it themselves and then pointed the fingers, and you know what I mean? There's always that. You never know who's behind what in warfare propaganda style, because they're going to do all kinds of heinous things and blame each other to justify escalation or, darker and darker turns of mass murder or what have you, right? Because, well, that's the things wars are made of. But, I mean, in this case, it's interesting. So it's, I'm not so sure that, let's say that this was Ukrainian militarized witches. I'm not so sure about that, all right? But what I am sure of, it's propaganda for sure, all right? Whether it's one way or the other, whether it's false flags, whether it's, blaming some other stuff. But I think it's, regardless of all that, it's a fascinating concept, okay? Thinking in terms of, all right, if we have this idea that actual, let's say, magic is a sort of used as maybe not just a catalyst to begin wars and continue wars going, but also as like an active sort of destructive or maybe force of power, maybe behind, let's say, through astrological signs, or let's say through, like sigils like this, sigil magic, or anything else. Do you think that it's possible that in, let's say, even modern warfare, let's say even remotely modern, let's go back 500 years or so. Do you think that in modern warfare, in those terms, that it is actually a thing to use ritual magic in warfare? And, well, how so? And I've got some examples. We're going to get to that. Here's the first one with, of course, the Ukrainian witches and Russian state media, which is clearly and obviously propaganda. But, like I said, as usual, there's usually a bit of truth in propaganda. Otherwise, it wouldn't work, right? They couldn't say, the aliens from Alpha Centauri came down and drew this sigil on the Ukrainian thing, proving that the Draco reptilians are backing the Ukrainian forces, because that's a little bit too far, right? People would be like, what are you talking about? But if they do this and just say, there's this on the wall, and they say, that the Ukrainian forces are, harnessing the dark powers of the devil, well, maybe it's not a step too far. And it's if it's believable, that it's good propaganda, right? But like I said, all that aside, I think it's more fascinating to consider if this stuff actually has happened, not just recently, again, as we see happening right now in the police action, as Russia's calling the Ukraine war. Well, because of propaganda, of course, because you have to label things just appropriately, or else it's uncouth. It's against the Geneva Conventions, right? We can only kill people this way. We can't kill them that way, right? It seems silly. But in any case, right? So do you think it's possible that magic actually plays a role, an active role, in modern warfare? That's what's on my mind tonight. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubleminds.org and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Let's go to Daryl in New York. Test 1 2. Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me, Mike?
Loud and clear. How are you, my friend?
Fabulous. I'm doing okay. What a great subject. A crazy subject. Just thinking about war. Is it like the most ritualistic way of, human sacrifice when you think about it? The magic of sacrifice, human sacrifice. And I wonder if they get like a bonus when they accidentally hit a civilian target or children. Is that like, do they get more magic and more powerful from doing that kind of evil? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like darker and darker type stuff. Like maybe, and I think you may be onto something. If you look back, like into history, like Joe said when he called in just a bit ago, he was saying that ritual sacrifice preceded war in many cases. Like they would do horrific things like you're describing. Like that they would sacrifice animals, of course, but I mean, worse so than that, they were sacrificing people as a way to gain favor from the gods. So I mean that ritual in and of itself is sick to begin with, but then who knows, maybe you step on the gas and you start maybe let's say killing children on the other side as part of a feed the gods for additional favor. Like that type of ritual killing is to become sick, doesn't it?
Extremely sick. And speaking of like sick, Hitler and his group were all the SS was in some secret societies, and they made all of the SS people study the art of runes, which is like a 4,000-year-old paganistic type of tradition that they used to paint the stones in blood. And I don't know, there's all kinds of mystical stories about, in Europe it's actually kind of accepted to be pagan. It's an acceptable kind of a traditional, religion. But Stalin and Hitler were both occultists, and even Himmler would consult an astrologist before making any major decisions, as well as Disney. Just wanted to mention that. He used astrology before he would even release a movie. He would release it based on astrology or the full moon or whatever. He was very strategic when he launched his movies, and they were almost guaranteed to be successful. And Himmler did the same thing. And I don't have a lot more to say about this, but I just wanted to say that, these leaders, Hitler was fascinated with the occult and magic and, UFOs and anything magic. So I think there is something to be said about, these leaders. I mean, Russia had Rasputin. They always consulted with, they had their little magician, and Hitler had a variety of them that were pretty accurate about predicting his success and death and all kinds of potential assassinations, and they predicted them pretty accurately. But if he also killed a few of them as well that were a little bit too accurate, predicting fires and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing more of the callers, and great topic.
Yeah, thank you. Before you go, so there's a couple other things too in recent history where when you look at sort of this idea of magic and maybe portents from the sky or from the gods or whatever, right? For favorable things. I mean, you can look at like legislation, and Joe brought up the abortion stuff, and I don't want to get into that because that's a whole different can of worms, right? Yeah. But remember in the 80s, infamously, Nancy Reagan would regularly consult an astrologer and.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, she would. Yeah. Yep, she would totally do that,
right.
And even rescheduling events if, like let's say the tea leaves came up wrong. So they would do that for presidential events and like for bill signings and things like this. They would do it for all kinds of stuff, and so it makes you wonder, right? Like, is there actually something to not just that, but then again, thank goodness, no actual war in the 80s, just Cold Wars and clandestine ops, right? But at least, right, if you can say that there was some sort of maybe occult influence in politics and in legislature and in bills, bill writing and lawmaking and that stuff itself. It makes you wonder that if they did like rituals before, the black ops went into wherever they went into to do, I don't know, get Osama bin Laden. I know I'm jumping timelines now, but you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I wonder how it not just plays into warfare itself, but also, let's say, statecraft. That's probably a good way to sum it up. Statecraft is a good way.
Statecraft. I was trying to find out information about like the New World Order and magic, and all I could come up with so far was just a card game that has magic in it. But I think there's something behind them too, and somehow there's got to be some kind of human sacrifice involved in it. Obviously, the eugenists have an agenda, and that's human sacrifice, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a whole nother can of worms. That's a whole other can of worms. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, more fascinating than the propaganda that we're looking at to start, this whole, militarized Ukrainian witches is just the concept of using magic in war. And you said, and this is infamously also, Hitler was, they based like Indiana Jones on it, right? I mean, the first Raiders of the Lost Ark was Hitler and the Nazis trying to track down the Ark of the Covenant, because of course, biblically in the scripture it says that an army that actually wields the Ark of the Covenant is I said government covenant is actually invincible. All right, and so I don't know, dude. There's something here, right? There's something to this.
Even on England, I think Rivers probably knows this, that they had these witches that were cast a spell when they first heard that they were going to be attacked by the Nazis, and they actually didn't get attacked that first time. But I guess, I don't know, their power wore off. Maybe they didn't do enough human sacrifice. I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up, Daryl. There's something called the Operation Cone of Power. is what you're talking about. We're going to get to that. I know all about that.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, great topic, Mike. I love it. I can't wait to hear the rest of it.
Right on. Appreciate the call. You're welcome to stay right there, and we'll talk to you a little bit later. You're the best, Daryl.
Thanks a lot, Mike. You too.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Daryl in New York has a YouTube channel. She sings in English and French, and she's got a bunch of stuff on Morgellons. If you guys are looking into learning more about that, do check it out. Give her some love. Links down in the description below. Give Daryl a follow on her YouTube channel. All right, so we're going to keep on trucking here. Now I'm glad Daryl brought up the idea of, so not just modern warfare in terms of, the Ukrainian, let's say, excursion, because of course you don't want to get accused of being a Russian propagandist, or maybe you do. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, right? Because of course, remember, Nazis and pedos, that's political discourse anymore. But what about the next step? What about the next layer of this? If we go back to the last major World War, of course, World War II. We're nearing 100 years on that, and it was an ugly time, right? Ugly, full of strife, all kinds of different, just murderous bastards the world over, just doing horrific things. And unfortunately, I think this is probably, morally speaking, it's one of those things where if people are killing people, at some point you have to kill people to stop the people of killing people. You know what I mean? So it's like, it becomes morally ambiguous. But you got to draw lines somewhere. You can't just let people get butchered by the millions, right? And that stuff was happening. And in some places in the world, it's still happening, right? It's just not reported. It's happening. Maybe not at those scales, but I mean, it's still happening. But at some point, right, you have to draw a line in the sand, and maybe it's for self-preservation, maybe it's just for standing up for people that can't stand up for themselves, right? Like, it's different. It's different in statecraft. It's definitely different for, like, a moral individual, a singular individual, right? I mean, you can't, as big as your heart is, as big as you want to change the world, you can't just go Rambo on the world, right? And just, like, go kick ass and take names and, statecraft all by yourself. They'll just nuke you or whatever, right? They'll just knock you out, and that'll be, you go up against the stand up at the gates of hell sort of thing, like, it's just not possible. So in some terms, right, it's I don't know, where am I getting at? I just talked myself into circles and I don't know what. But anyway, so here's what we're going to do, right? We're still talking about this tonight. The idea is the occult war. Does magic play a role in warfare? And even crazier than that, Hitler, that's where we're at. We're going to get back to the Cone of Power, Operation Cone of Power. Shout out to Rivers on that one again. Rivers always dropping amazing information in the Discord. By the way, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, here's your moment. Go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, and come say hi. Come meet all these fine folks. And fringe.fm/chat as well. And we'll come meet the fine folks there as well. What's up, Silver, over on Fringe, says, digging this topic tonight. Appreciate that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, right? We're still asking this question. What do you think? The occult war. And I think it's fascinating to me in larger terms of not just the war itself, like, let's say, any war. Choose a war. I hate to say, you make it in, maybe not the next war, because I don't want the next war to happen. But let's say choose a war in the past, even the recent past. And do you think that behind the scenes there's actually maybe an occult magical war happening between, I don't know, like we've talked about dualism and the forces of good and evil, that type of thing? Do you think that's actually manifesting sort of behind the scenes and causing the actual physical wars to happen sort of before our eyes, right? And that's a whole other thing. That becomes like a whole other level of the clandestine war, the one that's happening that nobody sees, that's actually maybe done with sigil magic, or let's say summoning in a grove and chanting things to keep Hitler out of the United Kingdom, which we're going to get to in a little bit, which of course is called Operation Cone of Power. So anyway, I don't know. I think in terms of this, interest-wise, I think it's compelling. I think there's a lot of reasons to believe, at least back to what the mighty Rohan says, if anybody out there. Rohan, you out there? What's up, buddy? Rohan says this, and I agree with him 100%, right? Whether this stuff is real, sort of this ritual magic, or whether it's not, at least with statecraft, a lot of these people believe it. So even if, let's say, it's not real, then you still have these weirdos in, like, prominent positions in the government that are doing rituals. You know what I mean? Like back to Nancy Reagan and the astrologer in this, right? So if it's real, if it's not real, I know I'm not trying to make the case one way or the other. Okay, it's your reality. You decide that. But the point is that if people are actually sort of doing this stuff, and it just, again, suspend your disbelief or belief for just a moment and think, if it's not real and they're doing these things, that's terrifying, right? Because they're actually sort of perpetuating more, let's say, bad juju. Or, you know, of course, it's going to be good juju. Shout out to James out there saying that, you know, everything's always black magic. Nobody talks about, like, the good magic, right? The light magic. So I mean, there's that, right? But then what about if this is not a real thing, but these state actors, the politicians of the world, the leaders of the world, I hesitate to call them elites because bastards more rolls off my tongue quite a bit easier when talking about rulers of the world. But you get my point, right? That if they're actually doing these occult sort of practices, and they're not real, then you get these sick people doing sick things for what? Right? All right. Terrifying, right? It's terrifying. It makes you go, wait, what? Is this really happening out there? Yeah. Again, rewind to Nancy Reagan, you know, literally changing schedules because the tea leaves came up wrong, right? In like presidential type stuff, right? Like leader of the free world type stuff. Okay. So there's that. But what about the other side of the coin here? What if it is real? That's even more terrifying, right? Even more terrifying, because that means the stuff is real. And that means there are actually magical things happening out there perpetuated by who knows? Who knows what? Who knows who? And who knows what they're invoking? And suddenly that idea of dualism and that good versus evil sort of becoming a thing behind the scenes, well, it's no longer the stuff of Hollywood movies. Like I said, I'm not trying to make a case here either way. You make up your mind on what you believe. But it is fascinating that either way, it's a terrifying notion because you can't really pin it down because we don't know what's happening directly behind the scenes. And that's part of my whole beef with just statecraft in general. I think that's a good way to put it, statecraft, to just sum all the garbage up into one dirty word, you dirty statecraft. But that's what's on my mind tonight. And what do you believe? As always, right? It seems like almost every show we come down to signs and M. Night Shyamalan, right? Are you the type of person that believes that everything happens for a reason? Or are you the type of person that believes that everything is just randomly bouncing around and we're just random, let's say, happenings of a complex, random world? Yeah, I don't know. As always, you tell me. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we talk about the occult and warfare. You think it's really happening? Do you think people are actually, let's say, drawing satanic sigils to help their armies? Do you think they're actually even maybe doing blood sacrifices against, you know, the Geneva Convention? Which again seems absolutely silly, thinking about how it's cool to kill people and how it's not cool to kill people. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, don't torture me first, that sucks. But I mean, dying's dying at some point, right? I mean, you know, I see the practical version of it, but I also see the sort of silliness of creating wars or creating rules for killing people. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's ritual? Do you think it's different? Do you think I'm just talking about whatever the hell I'm talking about? I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm the questions guy, but you got to wonder, right? This occult war, if it's actually happening, well, it's terrifying. If it's not actually happening, but the rulers of the world actually think it is, it's also terrifying because they're perpetuating grotesque rituals to perpetrate war, manufacture consent, and probably more. Love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got the Night Stalker, Derek in Massachusetts, coming up. More Occult War, Magic and Warfare, and your calls when we return. Be right back. We we are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon. Aliens.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
So we got, all right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It's Thursday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things, you may wonder? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Tonight, we're talking about the idea of magic in warfare. That's right, the occult war. Is there actually something going on behind the scenes? Sort of maybe black ops. Instead of black ops, maybe the black arts. Is there actually a war happening that maybe not just controls when war happens, but also controls who wins wars in a magical fashion? Love to hear your thoughts on this. We've got some historical examples, including, well, we could talk about magic in terms of the orcs versus the elves, of course, with Ukraine and Russia, which if you guys have been paying attention, that's going on, which seems a little bit super weird and occultish and whatever the hell that is. But there's some also historical examples, which we're going to get to. Operation Cone of Power, which was a group of witches back in World War II, 1940 to be specific, that actually got together to try and, let's say, put a spell together through ritual and through incantations and try and keep Hitler out of the United Kingdom. So pretty scary stuff. So what are your thoughts on this? We're streaming on Rockfan, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. Got calls lined up already, so let's just go straight to Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mike. Great show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Also to you. You're part of setting this up. You, Rivers, and James.
Yeah. This is more Rivers than me. She's been kind of brewing this idea for seemingly like months now. She sent I think both of us that like Cone of Power thing like months and months ago. And the other day, I think it was like over the weekend, I was on the phone with her and we talking about different ideas and stuff. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I just love to pitch these show ideas. I feel like it's just a way for me to kind of contribute, even though I don't have a show or any of my own stuff, so I don't feel so invisible over here in the supermarket and stuff. So she helps me out with that and everything. We were talking about needing like a different seed idea, needing like some kind of like Ukrainian witch, Russian magic story in order to like get this Cone of Power show popping off. And then literally like 2 days later, this is hot off the presses, that article you just mentioned the last half hour about this occult magic war and stuff. And it's honestly, it's just exactly what I was looking for. It's exactly what I had in mind, and it's pretty crazy.
Are you saying that you and Rivers manifested this propaganda from Russian sources?
I believe so. Sorry, Ukraine, but it wasn't our fault. But yeah, I think so, pretty much. So as far as like, do I think an occult war is possible? Definitely, 100%, definitely yes. Do I think it's necessarily one side versus the other? Not necessarily. Like, I've talked about this a million times. I might go too deep down the conspiracy rabbit hole with this frame of thinking, but at the very tippity top of the power pyramid, the ones controlling the world, I think it's just one side. Whether that be some type of elite cabal where they're all meeting in some type of hooded council and guiding the planet, that's possible. Or they're just all doing the same rituals and communing with the same entities from the other side, so they all have very similar plans, or yada yada. But it doesn't really matter. I think at the top, it's less like the Rothschilds funded both sides of basically every war. I mean, when you follow the money, I don't think that the sides are really that different. So I think the Occult War, the Magic War, is more so against us. And you were talking about, could wars be like giant blood rituals, giant blood sacrifices? And I would argue, yeah, for sure. To kind of start this one, to start this conflict on February 23rd, 2023, they killed 13 Ukrainian soldiers, whatever, after they flipped off Russia or whatever that thing was, the story that was going around. And this is the day after 222, where Biden began his State of the Union on 222. So they follow these numbers. They follow these the occult recipes in order to like manufacture all these events and stuff. And there's the old saying that millionaires don't care about astrology, but billionaires definitely do. So while I think there's absolutely a lot of propaganda on the table here, I think that when you get down to it, that there is, as far as like the Russians versus Ukrainians, like one using spells and the other not, I think that's propaganda. But do I think magic happens in war? 1,000%, yeah. Hit me for a second. I'm out of breath.
I got you. It's pretty nuts too. Like, so how does this work, right? So in like actual conventional warfare, you got like, the general sitting around a table with maps, or like, full on like heads up displays, and like screens and like styluses, and, and they're probably like, like drawing lines, and this is how we're going to do this, and the supply lines will be here and all the rest of this, right? So there's that, right? There's that idea. But then what about like sort of on the back end of an occult war? How does that happen? Is it like like you were describing, some cabal of like hooded sorcerers that meet like at midnight in the forest? They're like, they got the cauldron up and they're like boiling rabbits live or something, and they're like,
yeah. I mean, I think that's on the table for sure. I mean, they have Bohemian Grove, they have these Bilderberg groups, they have these councils and groups and like different commissions and everything that do organize the events that are going to take place every year. So did they talk about occult stuff? Did they talk about weird magical stuff in that conversation during those conventions? Maybe, probably, I don't know. But the idea that somebody is trying to guide humanity is not even a conspiracy. The richest people, they do meet and they do decide different things. That's not conspiratorial. But as far as how does that take place, like the idea of these generals in these rooms and stuff, drawing lines on the map and everything, I think that's happening, or something like that. But it might be more like both generals in it together. Be like, okay, we're going to have this battle here, we're going to have this battle here. I don't have the facts to back this up, obviously, but it's kind of one little pet theory of mine, like tied to the ley line portal thing, that a lot of these great battles during the Civil War, during King Philip's War in early United States, and Revolution, like across the board, that if you were to map all these battles out, they happen on these ritual spots, they happen on these power spots, these vortex spots, these places that are considered to be mystical, magical before the battle. So I bring it up all the time, but Gettysburg was considered to be a mystical place where they were seeing green orbs and different spirits by the indigenous well before the Battle of Gettysburg. So the idea that Gettysburg is haunted because of the battle, it might have amplified it, but I think they're, especially like early wars where, like early America, where the Revolution and the Civil War, and different places where we're literally consecrating ground. We're literally the first time we've been on this land. And that's kind of what they're doing. So I think that's all in the mix. I think that it's less so a magical war against each other and more so a magical war with us. Like, and we're the like, I don't think the elites, the whatever you want to call them, never stopped doing blood sacrifices. The idea that all of a sudden, just because we're living today and this is our time, this is modern time, that it's the first time in history where these elites haven't done some type of sacrifice, is crazy to me, And as far as like, I know we've called behind, so I'm trying to make this quick, but Rivers mentioned, huge shout out to Rivers. She's a genius, and a lot of this is just coming right from her. But we talked about John D. in 007 and the whole like espionage, being tied to the occult, all that kind of stuff. Same thing with Crowley. He was tied to the CIA and to MI6 and everything. And he actually claims to have invented that V symbol that he gave to Churchill during World War II to like quote unquote like combat the Nazi swastika or whatever. That was some type of sigil that they were using. And Churchill, that Crowley did something called like the lesser ritual of the hexagram to create this V that they would use to kind of combat that sigil. So the intelligence apparatus and the occult are very much hand in hand. But just technology in and of itself, Rivers posted it in the group too, that any technology far enough advanced is integral for magic. So at what point, like when they're trying to make the nuke and when they're trying to do all these things, they are working magic. It is magic. All these geniuses working in technology and physics and all this kind of stuff throughout, like Isaac Newton, everybody, they're all heavily steeped in the occult. It's alchemy and chemistry. It's hand in hand. It's the same origin, So for the nukes in particular, like the third one they built, there was the two that they dropped on Japan, and then they were going to use one on Hiroshima called Demon Core. The name of it was called Demon Core. If you search like Demon Core nuke, there's like a whole Wikipedia page. It's not a conspiracy, but that's all this stuff. It is magic. So the idea of like, I don't know, to use a Marvel analogy, Tony Stark, his entire thing, Iron Man began as Stark Industries was a tech, was like big. They were part of the big military. They were creating bombs. They were creating the weapons for the military for war. And then fast forward into future Marvel, like 100 years in the future of Marvel continuity, he becomes Sorcerer Supreme. Shout out Doctor Strange, it's premiering tonight. But he realizes that technology and magic are the same. It's just we don't understand. One we understand, one we don't. So on all those levels, I think it's absolutely happening. I'm trying to wrap it up here. Yeah, I don't know. That's basically all I got. But,
all right, that's all. Just blowing up people's brains on a nightly basis. That's all I got.
Is that okay? Sorry, my brain's scrambled. But
you're perfect. Perfect. You're on the game as always, bro. 100% on the game. I appreciate the phone call.
Great.
Thanks for helping set this up. Thanks. Yeah, and great call as always. You're the best. Thanks for helping set it up. Shout out to Rivers. If you guys don't know, Rivers is a friend of ours. That's who we're
She's the greatest. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. She's very shy though. So she doesn't love to call in. So I'm kind of sometimes I act as her mouthpiece to butcher her pearls of wisdom through my messed up filter, But
good.
She's great.
Good.
All right, awesome show, Mike. Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate it, bro. Have a great night. Derek here in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker, Stocker. He works in a grocery store overnight stocking, and he's the greatest stalker in the universe. Just ask him, and just ask me because I'm going to back him up on that. So he's got a YouTube channel. Check it out. He's got a trailer there. He's got one video, but let's inspire him to do more stuff. There's links in the description. Scroll down. Give the Night Stalker a follow on YouTube. Appreciate that very much, guys. All right, so we're still talking about this idea of the Occult War. Does magic play a role in warfare? You tell me. 702-957-1037. Let's go straight to MJ in Virginia. Thanks for being patient, my friend. You're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Hey, Michael. I'm going to have to say 100% they can use occult magic to basically edit a war or do something with it. I'm not going to say they can totally create or control the war, but they can edit it their way as so they want, make stuff happen and sort of keep bouncing things back and forth.
Okay, so more indirectly, not absolutely directly, like the magic is causing all the things to happen, but they can influence things in more minor aspects of like warfare, right?
Right. If you want to have an example of that happened to me specifically, actually, me and a woman in Phoenix, we were cleansing houses, and we came upon this one house, and the girl was complaining about a lot of, things going on in the house, stuff would move around, so we took it. And what we found out was she was also used in rituals as a child with her parents, okay? And there's this one, her foyer, we went in, and there was like a cold spot there, so we closed it off, did a little blessing and all that stuff. Got it done. She started waking up because she was walking around like she was in a daze the entire time, and we're kind of looking at each other like, okay, is she like high or what's going on? So we got to that part, closed it. We both, went out to eat, got home. As soon as we both walked into our apartment, something went running across the roof. I went running outside to see, who is it? all of a sudden, and it's clear outside. There's no clouds. You see a lightning went across the sky, and then it started raining, but there's no clouds. And what we surmised out of it was her parents were in Europe, is what she was telling us about. They're in Europe. They have in a triangle, they had connection points with other people up in Canada, Europe, and I think down in Phoenix or Arizona somewhere, where there was, they're basically like a main occult was in Europe. And then they had their sub-occults up in Canada and down in Phoenix. So they had this triangle going, and they literally did that to us 3 hours after we had closed that portal or closed it up. So absolutely, they didn't affect us, but it was like a warning. So absolutely, they can do things to influence what happens. If they influence it at the right time, they can inflict quite a bit of damage, or they can just kind of keep it going, just keep putting something in there. I've had that happen to me 4 times now. But that was all out in Arizona. Here it's pretty quiet. But yeah, absolutely it can.
Yeah. So okay. Let's do some theory craft here. So what does it look like? Like we were talking about with Derek there. So the generals are in the war room and they got their screens and they got the globe and they're doing all the things and making all the plans. What does an occult war look like behind the scenes? Do you think it is like we described, sort of a, like a dark hooded individuals meet in a forest at midnight with a cauldron boiling rabbits alive, or how do you think this is actually happening? Meaning, do you think the military employs like a particular, let's say sect, like an occult sect that's part of the military, but also not, right? So sort of unofficially. How do you think this actually kind of plays out in statecraft terms?
I don't think the military knows anything about it. I think the military does the military. There could be one of the generals that might know that he's got to report to, but I don't know that he's actually aware of what's going on. And of course, then they can manipulate things, and yeah, they would meet in the spot, and they would have to go through the ritual. That would mean that they're going to have to be in their dark robes and not a cauldron, but in a place where they practice this, because you have to build up a vortex of energy for this. So they have a particular spot that they would go to for sacrifice and everything else, and that would be their energy spot. The strongest, the better. It could be out in the woods, maybe granite rock, something that would amplify the energy. Plus, they've got to set up a, what do you call it? Like a hub, like a computer operator as a hacker will connect to different routers, so they can deflect anybody trying to detect them. It's the same way in that occult. They don't just do it in one spot. They have to connect to different spots around the planet or in their occult, and all 3 spots, like a triangle, each corner's got a little occult there, one here, and then one main one. They all get together and create this magic, or create the energy to do it. So they'd all have to be in one particular spot, because like you live in your house long enough, you create a vortex of your own energy in your own home. Everybody does it. And it's your home. When you walk in, you can feel the person that lives there. And it's pretty simple. And they would do the same thing. They would have a particular spot where they did all their magic, all their rituals, whatever paraphernalia they would have. But yeah, that's what they would do.
Okay, so what happens when I move out of this house? I'm broadcasting from a circle assault. This bunker, I mean. Do you think the next people that move into the bunker are going to have a serious problem? What do you think, MJ?
With you, no.
Okay, all right.
But it takes time. Like, you move into a new house, it takes you time to get settled in, to get the feel of the place, to get your stuff where it belongs. It takes time to do that, and that's part of the magic. My home here, my 3 people owned it. I'm the third person to own this place. And I had to get rid of all my parents' energy, and also the people that lived here before's energy. It was all still here. I had to clear it out, so now it's just mine. So when you move into a new apartment, it's not home right away, and nobody feels like it's home. Once you get used to it and you get comfortable and you got your stuff around you, that's when the vortex starts setting in, and you come in and you're familiar with everything. That's when your natural vortex will set in with that.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is all of this stuff we're talking about tonight is very real. It's just basically the context of how influential it can be in sort of like worldwide events, right? And I mean, it's pretty nuts. Like I said, like sort of like generals in a war room is one thing, but like occult practitioners in some sort of like dark sorcery ritual somewhere else. I don't know. I think let's say if you were the generals, sort of planning the military stuff, wouldn't you want to know? Well, the witches say right, that they're going to be sending extra energy, positive or negative, on this day at this time. Wouldn't you want to want to know what the left hand and the right hand are doing at the same time? What do you think about that?
I don't think I think the military does the military thing, and they do strategy. And then you have this occult comes in, which is whatever you want to call them, warlocks, and they do their thing to offset some of the stuff, and it just keeps it going. It's like we could have won it, but they came in and did something, so it kind of flattened what we were going to do, and now the bad sides, they're up on some stuff, and I think it goes like that. They never help out. I don't think they help out the good side. I think they just keep throwing a wrench into the gears to keep, messing it up, and they keep leading it on. Eventually, somebody's going to win. But I don't think the generals, I don't think they're doing it. But I honestly do believe the generals have somebody they've got to call and report to, and then that person would call up the occult or, witches or whatever you want to call them. I think they would call them up and say this is their plan. But I don't think the generals are connected directly to it.
The dark sorcerer liaison to the military.
Something like that. I mean, unless they've got good occult leaders, and they can tell what's going on psychically, and they can just filter in there, and they sit and do their chants and whatever, and sacrifice, and whatever devil or god they're going to appease. War god, and they send that out, and that happens, because that literally happened to us. We heard something run across the roof, lightning and the rain. We called each other simultaneously, so we were both on call waiting when we got to each other, and I had to hang up and call, answer her phone. It happened to her exact the time it happened to me.
Okay. So this stuff is real. Back to this stuff is real. MJ, You're the best, brother. We are out of time, but always a pleasure. Always an amazing phone call from you. Thanks for chiming in and helping us square this up the way things really are. I appreciate it, my friend. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call.
All right, bye.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. It's not easy to follow MJ, but you can try. Yes. The Occult War. Does magic actually play a role in warfare? We're talking about orcs and elves. We're talking about Ukraine and Russia. We're going to get to Hitler and the Operation Cone of Power. Don't go anywhere. More Occult War, magic and warfare, Hitler, and witches. When we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're taking your phone calls as we discuss the idea, yeah, you got it, the idea of the Occult War. Does magic actually play a role in warfare, modern or otherwise? We're going to get to Operation Cone of Power in World War II, when witches in England actually got together to do a ritual to keep Hitler out of the United Kingdom. Do you think it's possible, somehow, some way, that, well, ritual magic plays a part in warfare? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to, hey, we got to take the calls in order. Joseph was way first. Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Welcome to Troubled Minds. What's on your mind, my man? What's up?
So I was thinking, right? Like I was thinking for weaponizing like magic, right? Like I was thinking to Achilles how he got dipped in the lake, and maybe like he wasn't an actual person. Maybe they had like the Greeks, I think it was, when they took over Troy, they over the, I don't know, it's a story. I don't know if it's real. I think it's real. I think it was proven and written and stuff. But like in like, I don't know, there's just, it kind of connects with precognition and everything. Like, cause like in the movie, at least, like Achilles was like depicted as like being like, he was like, first of all, he didn't have like a king claimed, which is kind of like us, which makes us think I'm like we, like the United States is one of the most powerful mages, if there is, if you would want to call it that, because like belief makes magic work, you know? But I was thinking like precognition, right? Like in the movie, they pictured like him, like, he would like go against the generals and like question what they are doing, because not only was he able to see things in the battle, like someone drawing a bow towards him as he's turning his head and able to block that arrow, but he was also able to see the masses. And then, and then I was wondering, like, that could connect, like, if you make a lot of that and that mirrors to the other side, like, could you snap out of that, you know?
Yeah, well, meaning what though? So there's a connection, belief. So do you think, like, personally, you could snap out of like the ritual stuff? Like let's say that like the Coven of Witches or whatever are doing their thing. Are you saying that like sort of with an anti-belief of that, you could snap out of that ritual?
Yeah. I would like the United States. Maybe it is like a dark and light side. Maybe we are the light, but like Night Talker said, there's one side, but I don't know. There could be maybe what we created as more of a different, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what's super wild about that thought is that like world geopolitics and, you know, the wars and proxy wars are going on all over the damn place. It's complicated, right? It's super complicated. I know all war sucks. That's my take. It all sucks, right? I think we can find a better way than just killing each other. But imagine this, if in a celestial level, that it's also super complicated, like you just sort of hinted, that maybe there's not just two sides. What if there's 10 sides or 12 sides or 15 sides? And we're constantly sort of under the influence of maybe celestial magic that all have their own whatever they want, their own agendas, right? And maybe part of this ritual warfare we're actually sort of always involved in on Earth actually has less to do with us than it has to do with I don't know, a coven of witches from across the veil. What do you think about that?
Like in the other, like and like, I don't know, I was thinking like your hidden self, your hidden selves kind of going to work.
Yeah, or like our hidden selves on let's say you've seen the TV show Fringe and the multiverse, like the multiverse versions of us, like that have technology to cross over into this universe, meddling, right? There's one faction that's like, for the lulz, they're like using us as like some sort of soap opera world because we don't have the technology yet to cross over and mess with them or stop them. But then also, like, let's say the Archons or some sort of celestial actual in this world, in this realm, in this like universe, also messing with us. Like, this is what I mean. Like, imagine if it's super complicated, and that's why nothing makes any damn sense. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, like, yeah, that makes me think a lot. I don't know.
Hey, it also makes me think a lot. so that's okay. This is the deal, right? You know the deal. Here we'll do a third hour. So if you want to think on it for a little bit and give us a call back, you're definitely welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you in that I don't know the answers. You know me, bro. I do like thinking of possibilities though, and that's what the show's all about.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, I appreciate the phone call.
I think I definitely go back to the Achilles and like maybe like the United States military. You know how they definitely wire that stuff into you, and it could be an art. They could make artificial Achilles soldiers that aren't quite the same, but I think they fear us. I'm just going to end this right on this. They fear the United States because like we really are we have a mass like we must, I don't know, like we're producing stuff. I mean, just my little town, like my high school, like we had 4 people like go to college football. One of them went to NFL. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like, and I'm talking about a school of like 200 people. Like you're talking about like 4 of them going nearly to the NFL, and then one of them getting in the NFL. And the NFL, like it's like a lottery, dude.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah,
and that happens just in my class.
That's wild, man. Yeah,
like there's more people
super rare
that are already like. It's just kind of ridiculous. I think they do fear it. You know, it could get out of control, maybe.
You never know. Love the idea, bro. You're the best. Joseph in Iowa, he's got a channel. Did you change the name of the channel? It used to be called Hydro Hose. What's it called now?
Yeah. It's Iowalks.
Iowalks. You're the best, bro. Give him a follow. I'll change the link in the description. I think if you go to the old one, it'll be there. I'll change it for you. Joseph, you're the best. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging your mind in these conversations. I appreciate it very much. Have a fantastic night, bro.
Yeah.
702-957-1037. We're talking about the Occult War. Does magic play a role in warfare? And of course, we're talking about the Ukrainians and the Russians. And back to this, Vice.com on Motherboard, Russia state media claims to discover militarized Ukrainian witches. All right. So in warfare, are there actual, let's say, black magic rituals happening to, let's say, perpetuate more war or more murder or more mayhem or more ritual slaughter? 702-957-1037. What are your thoughts? Real, not, somewhere in between? Love to hear what you think. Let's go to Jay Winch in Texas. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. Go right ahead. You're on Troubled Minds.
Hey, so like I said, I'm going to touch into 2 different subjects. One, I'm going to give you everybody a little update. I closed and saw my house the 10th. By the 17th, I should have property bought and be living there before the end of the month.
Congratulations.
Time to get the heck out of Dodge. I live too close to Fort Hood, and with everything that's going on, not somewhere you want to live by. Now, part 2, get back to the conversation. The occult, I'm going to jump all over the place, but you have Hitler, the Nazis, their symbol, that actually has multiple occult-like things. You had the one alien that their female witches used to talk to. I'll let somebody else expand on that with further conversation. But the cross also known as the crooked cross, traces back to a term called the black hole sun, which is another version of occult. But the biggest one is that crooked cross was seen in the Himalayan mountains in Tibet. Tibet is one of the few places that was known not to be wiped out by the flood that I believe in, that happened roughly 13,000 years ago.
I think that tracks with modern archaeology, I think, yep.
Yeah, so the whole occult, Hitler, and dark magic, that's what their entire thing was based off of.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's super weird
factor in
that you say that, just real quick. So just to fill in those blanks for people that don't know. So reading about the stuff tonight in the Occult War and World War II and Hitler and all that stuff, they actually they sent a team of occult, let's say occult educated folks to Tibet, because they were trying to track down the true Aryan race, because they believed that they were there and they survived the flood, right? So anyway, go ahead, Jay Winch, just to fill in the blanks there for some folks who aren't familiar with that conversation. Go right ahead.
Yeah, and that occult thing that we're trying to track down traces back to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed angels, which traces back to Atlantis. And that's another part of their occult thing. But they also were looking into South America, or not South America, but Antarctica, just south of South America, and that traces into Operation High Jump. So if people want to take that back to the alien portion and the witches, it kind of ties in together. And then you also have Ukraine.
Ukraine. The Ukraine.
Occult rituals. Like, I mean, I could go for hours about this, but I know you got a lot of people on a call in. If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind carrying it for the third hour and let people go ahead and do a little bit of research and drop bombs like Jennifer and James Salcedo always does.
Yeah. So okay. So if you want to dip and call back in the third hour, you're definitely welcome. A lot of great points here. Okay, so we got some stuff to get to too. So we don't have calls behind you. So if you got a final point to make it, and you're welcome to come back in the third hour. I want to talk about the actual operation. What is this called? Cone of Power. So I'm going to get to that. It's important. It's an important part of this story. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. But like, what is your final point? Call back in the third hour. We'll get you back on. Okay.
No, I'm not going to call in the third hour because I've got like 100 different hoops I'm jumping through with the whole selling my home. I'll be listening in and working on falling asleep. But my final thoughts, what we consider technology, we would have been considered gods in the 1200s, being able to pull up satellite images, cell phones, flying planes. So technology, magic, it's kind of a blurred line. At some point, our magic is just not the understanding of the world / galaxy / universe and what's actually available to us once we get to that level of understanding.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Perfect. Always amazing stuff. Good luck and congratulations on the property. Go get it, brother. Go get it. Go do the thing. Always a pleasure. Jay Winch in Texas. Call back as soon as you can. Okay.
All right, will do, brother.
Thanks a lot. Have a fantastic night. Appreciate the phone call. 702-957-1037. The Occult War. Does magic play a role in warfare? We got a perfect example. Shout out to Rivers. Here we go. This is from Mental Floss. Check this out. This is wild. This is called Operation Cone of Power, right? When British witches attacked Adolf Hitler. Let's cut to the chase here and just go straight to the thing. This is what happened. In a forest clearing surrounded by pines, Heselton wrote in Witchfather, they marked out a witch's circle, the stage for their magical efforts. In place of a traditional bonfire, perhaps for fear of being spotted by enemy aircraft or local air defense wardens, a flashlight or shuttered lantern may have been placed to the east of the witch's circle, in the direction of Berlin, as a focus for their magical assaults. Naked, or sky-clad, as Wiccans say, they began to dance in a spiraling pattern around the circle, building up to the communal ecstatic state that they believed can control magical forces. As they danced, their chants echoed the magical formula Gardner said had been used in the earlier ceremonies against the Armada and Napoleon, a psychological assault on the mind of Adolf Hitler that they hoped would weaken his resolve to invade England. Now, look, this is the wild part, right? This is straight from that article again that I said that I cited again, sent to me by Rivers. Shout out to Rivers for again. This is what I'm saying. Look, this show. But by the way, guys, this show. Look, it's amazing. It is, right? My ego's leaking out. It is. However, it's not just me. Like, there's a lot of really brilliant people behind the scenes that are helping me with ideas, with concepts, with seeds for shows, for brilliant conversations, right? And so, just want to say, like, my ego is what it is, but also, no ego rides alone. And all of these amazing folks, Rivers, Night Stalker, James, Jennifer, who just called in, and we'll get to her in just a sec. This is what this is all about. Getting together and sharing ideas, amazing and worthy of a conversation. If you want to come be part of that, troubleminds.org, click the Discord link, come say hi. Just the only rule is don't be a douche. That's it. It's super easy. It's like a super easy rule. Just don't, like, if people say things you don't believe, just okay, that's cool. You believe that, I believe this, and have a conversation. That's what this is all about. Listen to this. Operation Cone of Power. Real quick, a cone of power, by the way, and this is an actual thing. Now, the Cone of Power, this is from the Ministry of Truth Wikipedia. The Cone of Power is a method of raising energy in ritual magic, especially in Wicca. The Cone of Power is visualized as a cone of energy that encompasses the circumference of the circle of Wiccans and tapering off to a point above the group. As a group, the cone is formed by the Wiccans standing in a circle, sometimes holding hands and focusing on a single point above the group and up in the center of the circle. Then they dance, drum, chant, or perform various other ritual gestures in order to raise the energy and extend it upwards. When the state that these actions create has reached a peak, the ritual leader will signal the group, and the energy is released upwards, and the cone is sent towards the goal. This is called raising the Cone of Power. And wouldn't you know it, again, back to World War II and the British witches warding off Adolf Hitler. Yeah, Operation Cone of Power. It's a thing. Links in the descriptions. Check them out. I'm not making this crap up. And again, shout out to Rivers for inspiring this months ago. And what do you think? The Occult War? Does magic play a role in warfare? Well, the elites, or let's say the people in charge of statecraft, seem to think so. 702-957-1037. Let's get to Jennifer before we get the hell out of here and finish on Fringe. Jennifer, you're on Troubled Minds. What's going on? Go right ahead. I'm sure you got some mind-blowing stuff here.
I have some thoughts on it, but I wanted to start out by saying, thank you to all the veterans and to their families and to all the warriors who have fought these wars of the past, all for us, And before I get into all the other stuff, and just they're really amazing and their bravery is unmatched. And I wanted to point that out first. And then, as far as, is there witchcraft being used in warfare? Yes. And that's been said by the Pentagon in actual Foreign Relations Committee consultation where they admitted that tax dollars were being spent to study Congolese black witchcraft and many other types of witchcraft for different cultures and different nations. So they are using witchcraft. They're trying to understand it. And they definitely have used it in warfare, in my opinion, forever. And it does appear to be not that it's about necessarily individual nations. It does appear to be that way, but on the bigger scope, they're feeding something in a way, something that has to be fed if they want to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. And many people, not just themselves included, but many, many warriors and many soldiers in the past have believed in the same cause and have been active in those rituals. And so I don't believe it's just a secret amongst the government. I think that we're all in on it.
Okay, so, well, if we're all in on it, then, so do we mean to be? So what if I don't want to be in on it? Do I have a choice?
I think yeah, of course. I think there's always a choice, but I think that in certain circumstances, it seems like, have you ever been in a corner where you were given no other option? In a lot of situations, I think that that's the psychology going on behind how these things are set up. But I think getting enough, not all of the people who fight in wars have the same goals in mind. It's very individualized. It seems like they're trying to get them all into a group mindset, and it appears to be that way when you have nations fighting other nations. But really, it's a fight of the individual. And I always go back to this because I believe it's true, that you can't move a mass of people into warfare unless each individual's consciousness is in on it, especially if you're going to die for the cause. And that takes something bigger than a few random witches off in the corners. That's something much bigger. It's a cultural thing. It's deep-seated in our genetics. And we're all a part of this ritual, communicating something that is felt so passionately that we'll give our lives for it. And there is an aspect of it that, with witchcraft being used on particular political entities, as was the case, I mean, so many times in history where particular individuals that were in power were trying to be dethroned from power. Congress, in the case of when the Congress got up and said that they were funding, that they had to, because witchcraft is present in modern warfare. And I think that we get caught up in this idea that we're not involved, that we are not ourselves magically invested. But the truth is that every day, everything we do is a ritual. And to change what you usually do is nearly impossible. They call it a habit. Kind of like a nun's habit or something like that. But they call it a habit. And the truth is that when you find yourself changing what you normally do in the favor of others, what they want you to do, that might be very well a spell of some kind.
I chuckled because I got a bad habit of doing. I got a bad habit of doing this show at 7 p.m. Pacific on Monday through Thursday. I've got a bad habit. Jen, you're the best, as you know. Look, we got like 30 seconds left for you. Do you want to hang after the break? I'll cut it short and we can just continue with you. I don't want to cut you off. That's all. I'll give you the option. It's completely up to you. But we got about 30 seconds left for you. I got to get off the radio, but we'll go right back to you if you want to hang.
Okay, yes, I will. I'll go onto Discord for it, okay?
Sure, that's fine. You can stay on the phone if you like. I'll just literally
I'll
just
chat for like 5 minutes or something.
Okay, sure. That's fine. All right, cool. I'll see you there. I appreciate it. Jennifer, thanks for the phone call. We'll talk to you in just a moment and be right back with you. Jennifer has a YouTube channel. Check it out, please. Links in the description down below. All the amazing people that are part of this show, if they have YouTube channels or any of the other things that they do, endeavors, whatever, the links are down in the description. Please follow them. Again, like I said, this show is not just me. As you can tell, like it's a cast of characters. It's a cast of amazing people that put their time and their energy and their effort into these conversations and inspire me. And hopefully, the inspiration is circular in that time as a flat circle type of way. And so please go follow all of them and give them some love. Ash is part of that group as well. You guys know. Again, Jennifer, Tam, Bam, you know them all. Scroll down, links in the description. Please follow all these folks. But look, I'm telling you, as this ends, I don't know the answers here. I think the occult war stuff, as Jennifer is saying, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's worth standing up for the idea of true freedom or whatnot. I don't know, right? Like as maybe a magic spell. But as we end, it goes like this, right? If you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void, and then of course after that, the Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. Like I say, look, I don't know the answers here. Look, I'm talking to you. If you're hearing me out there, a singular individual, it's your reality, all right? I'll handle my reality. You handle yours. You make up your mind. As we end, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Okay, there we go. All right. There's the deal. Okay, so I make the funny faces because I'm pressing buttons and watching timers. And hey, look, most radio shows have actual, a board operator and a call screener, and they have like literally a fucking team of people to run a radio show correctly. It's just me. It's just me. So if I make odd faces or cock my head sideways in particular ways, or this, that, the other thing, well, I'm just making sure shit happens. All right, so we're still talking about this. We got Jennifer here. We got James we're going to go to as well. 702, we got, looks like Matt in California. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. For continuity purposes, let's not take a break. We'll go straight to Jennifer. Then we'll take a break. Then we'll go to James. Then we'll go to Matt. Jennifer, you're back on Troubled Minds. Thanks for popping over to Discord. Go right ahead. You were talking about sort of a cultural, let's say a cultural magic. Go right ahead.
I do. I think that it's an investment. When we've all, no matter where you've been, but if you believe in, and many people don't, but a lot of people do, that there's fate at play in your life, and you're born in certain places and you act out certain roles, like a big play, and like the idea of Plato and the shadows on the side of the cave, that whole thing. Then when you are where you're at and certain things line up with you, you do the rituals of your culture. And every culture does it. And we all have gods. If you think about the money, and I think it was Caesar who was first coined on money, a human being coined on money. Before that, it was a god. It's always been a spirit. Every single time. And even to this day, I don't believe it's any different. But we began at some point to idolize man more than the spirit on the surface. But we could only do that once we had deified. It'd been done in the past, but they had been marking them with their gods. Now, aside from that, the first introduction to any kindergarten class is the introduction of your culture and your country. And that's a ritual. And you'll do it because it was done before you over and over and over again. And because you think that you believe in it. And you believe in certain things. You believe in the best of it. So much so, because what is it that convinces someone to go and fight to the death? It's for their people. Every single time it's for their people. And on the other hand, when you look at these governments, the governing of the minds of the masses, those who are in charge of that sort of thing, they are into black magic, and they are into white magic, and they are into magic in general, and they are into any kind of anything that gives them an edge. And that's not something new, but their greed is so severe. Not actually, in this case, I think, for their people, but many times for their own families. Because the world is ruled by families, by old families that have intentionally kept the power in their hands. They've kept it that way through understanding psychological warfare. And there have been wars fought by the use of psychological warfare. But at the same time, they always have an allegiance to something beyond themselves. They believe is putting the power in their hands. And there's this idea of feeding. And many people call this like a pain body or something, but it has to be fed. It becomes habitually used to getting what it's used to having, which is suffering and anguish. And they don't care where it comes from. And in this instance, if they have created a scenario and used the love that people feel for those closest to them and their kinsmen, it's a perfect catalyst for a sacrifice. And in instances of witchcraft itself, and the raising of the code of power, and the idea of that, we do that ourselves. There's the war cry, the drums. Everything in the ancient past has been about that. There was always the drummer boy. There was always the piper. There was always those instances when going into war, and it's to raise the spirit of the warriors. When you talk about Valhalla, when people talk about those things, they're talking about immortality, not death, but being immortal. And this all has to do, in my opinion, it's utilized in a way to get what some individuals want. We're involved in our own rituals of witchcraft and magic in our own right. You, Mike, have talked about the trouble with the idea that the power of suggestion, and they take that little edge of pointing the mind of the masses through propaganda at a particular focal point. And the opponent does the same thing. And then that is in itself just purely psychological. Anything that is hanging in the realm of psychological, I believe, is a type of magic. And a lot of people who practice magic and think about magic would say possibly the same thing. And there's a thing where it's called where you basically, you do something in order to, it's like you're, like when they used to go into the Great Hunt, and you kind of put on a play about what you intend to have happen, and then it mimics what you actually have happen on the battlefield. And they're utilizing all these different layers that go deep into the psyche that they understand very well, and that we understand very well. We're not strangers to this. If someone was to come here, if there was an opponent from another nation, even though it's very likely that at the top, at the tippity top of it all, that they are all getting souls for the same cause, but it's up to the warrior themselves what is used for. And typically I think it goes to their families. But there may be some that really believe and they're caught up in the hoopla, and they are dying for the propaganda. And I think there's something to it, though, with the magic and everything. And because there's, as it's been said, there's no doubt about it. The Assyrians did it. They did war rituals. The Babylonians did it. Rome. Every aspect of Roman life was ritualized. We don't know that, but we're living in a mimicry of Rome. And it's very clear that Rome never actually died, in my opinion. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that every aspect of Roman life was a ritual, and it was funded by the government of Rome. The Delphi Oracle was funded by the governments of Rome. All of the temples were kept and funded and restored and maintained by the government. The same with the pyramids of the pharaohs. It's all ritual to them, and they believe in something higher than themselves. And perhaps they are convinced that if they give enough sacrifice, because they don't believe in death, they believe in immortality, that if they do this, it might be able to place who they want in power. And that's why I think that there could be a great deal of ritual going on, and it appears to be that way. But we ourselves, on an individual basis, all serve our own gods, whether it's our families, or it's our ancestors, or it's ourselves. We're serving something. Everyone does. And we do it psychologically, subconsciously, unconsciously, every single day of our lives. And that includes instances of war and what you're willing to sacrifice for those you love. And when you think about magic itself, though, it's in everything that we're doing, because we do it with a momentum and an inertia, basically, that's unceasing until the day that we're done. And it goes from beginning to end, and it's all contrived and controlled psychologically through ritual, through construct, and we're all participants in this circle of what I would call magic.
Okay, well said. Wrapped around it nicely in a nice tight bow. I don't know what else to say. Brilliant. Look, I think the thing is too, regarding all of that in ritual, like you said about me, and it's true. Like, I'm very suspicious of the power of suggestion, because again, like, you know, Rohan and I have this sort of like a kind of argument going back between ourselves that he believes in magic and I don't, right? And he's like, no, he's like, Mike, you do magic all the time. I'm like, no, I don't. And it's like, but I'm also very wary of the power of that, the power of persuasion, the power of sort of the mind worm, the mind virus, the ability to influence people subtly, right? And that's why in important ways too, I'm careful about what I say, right? I just don't want to make emphatic, like, sweeping statements that, you know, in my ignorance are, let's say, detrimental to somebody else's reality, right? Like, because there could be catastrophic consequences on individual levels to me. And like, I would never be able to live with myself if I, you know, said or did something that, you know, caused bad things to happen to people. You know what I mean? So I take it very seriously. And whether that's magic or it's not magic, or it's just suggestion or whatever it happens to be, right? Like, you can frame things and talk about them in different ways, but I think it's important. I think it's critical that we do realize that the things we think and the things we say and the things we do and our actions and, you know, how we, you know, try to be a better person from yesterday to tomorrow, if we're not kind of working, let's say, that magic, you know, say, you know, metaphorical magic in common sense terms, well, what are we doing? So I mean, I guess I agree.
Well,
I guess twist my arm. Maybe magic is real. You win. Rohan wins.
Charisma, and putting a spell on people. You know, you've heard that. Everybody's heard that song by who's that lady? Anyway, that song. You know, I put a spell on you or whatever. But the thing is that when people are like Hitler, for example, and I wasn't going to go into this because I don't like talking about World War II. But Hitler, supposedly, people would say, he was such a good speaker that it was like they were enthralled. When you go to listen to a concert, everyone's under a spell, because at that moment, you'd be surprised what people will get up to when they're in the moment and they're really wrapped up in things. It's not easy to do, but once you start with one and you convince one, then it goes on a bigger spectrum, and that's what they're using. They're using something similar to that, a crowd. But magic itself is something natural. It's natural to everyone because, like I said, from the moment you wake up, I believe that you are doing it 24/7. And when you're doing other things, like some people do, like religious people might do, or people who would just singularly identify themselves as witches would do, a lot of people think that magic precedes God, the idea, the concept of a spirit. But I believe that actually, that the belief in religion itself must precede magic, because they are appealing to something. They're appealing to a God force. They're appealing to a spirit. And it's only been recent, the idea of appealing, I wouldn't say it's recent, but the idea that we're giving all this lately to machines. And when you talk about technomancy and things like that, this is a whole new thing that we're going into with warfare, in my opinion, the technomancy. And I think that there is a lot to that I'm not very familiar with, because I'm mostly familiar with more like the grassroots idea. But I would look into the future of warfare being technomancy, and something to that effect. Also looped into, and perhaps losing the right to choose. Because I think that's what's on the precipice of the new warfare. It's an individual warfare. And they don't need to fight a big war. I don't think we'll ever see a war quite like we've seen in the past world wars. I think it'll be more at home with the individual. And the witchcraft fought out between the individual and the masses, because we have no roots anymore. No culture does, hardly at all anymore, because we're all leading into a new world order. And so what's been done is the severing of all those roots of culture that was useful in the past for warfare. But now it's all about the individual. And so it's going to be about that, I think. So whatever witchcraft will be used, it'll be used in an individual basis. And that's my theory on what would happen with any future wars. What's happening in the Ukraine is a mystery. I'm not even sure. It doesn't even make a lot of sense. I can't even go into the war in the Ukraine because of the Bidens and because of all that political stuff. And you'd have to almost be blind to see what's happening.
Yeah, the information, exactly. The information to us has been sloppy at best. Yeah, real quick, before I let you go, we're going to take a quick break here. So interesting you say all that. So let's say the warlock becomes a technomancer in the New World Order. I was looking up the Geneva Conventions to just kind of familiarize myself with some of this, like, LOL, rules of war. Interestingly, on the bottom of this, it says new challenges. Artificial intelligence and autonomous weapon systems such as military robots and cyber weapons are creating challenges in the creation, interpretation, and application of the laws of armed conflict. The complexity of these new challenges, as well as the speed in which they are developed, complicates the application of the conventions, which have not been updated in a long time. Adding to this challenge is the very slow speed of the process of developing new treaties to deal with new forms of warfare and determining agreed-upon interpretations to existing ones, meaning that by the time a decision can be made, armed conflict may have already evolved in a way that makes changes obsolete. As always, Jennifer, blowing brains up, and literally, it's crazy how we get the calls sort of reading my mind and turning these things into like I found exactly that point and wanted to talk about exactly that point, and you talked about that point before I got to it. You're the best. You're the best, Jennifer.
All right. Well, I'm glad. It's a great show. I'm extremely fired up about it. I'm enjoying it, and great calls all night, and love the show, Mike.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the phone call. Jennifer here in Missouri has a YouTube channel. Please scroll down, give her some love, click the subscribe button. All those fine folks down there as well. Again, like I said, this show doesn't happen by itself, by accident. It's not just me. There's so many amazing people. Thanks for the phone call. You're welcome to stay there as long as you like. Of course, on Discord, you already know that. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to James in just a minute. Thanks, James, for being patient. I literally am just going to go hit the men's restroom, grab myself another maybe juice, and we're going to roll. You ready, James? Put him on the spot. Boo. All right, we're taking a break. Smashing the music button. Going to be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. 702-957-1037. We're talking about the Occult War. Does magic play a role in warfare? You tell me. I'll handle my reality. You handle yours. Let's talk about it. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. 2-minute break. All right, who's ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Here we go. More Troubled Minds coming up. Or is it too early for that? All right. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. And we're taking your phone calls as we discuss the idea of magic. You got it. Not just magic. What about the Occult War? Does magic play a role in warfare? And is there maybe a cabal of sorcerers? Or like maybe Jennifer described, it's cultural magic. It's individual magic. It's your relationship with both and how you kind of sit in between those things. And you decide for yourself what magic actually is. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts. One more time, 702-957-1037. We're talking about this Russia state media claims to discover militarized Ukrainian witches, sigil magic happening. They got the little, looks like a graffiti, bad Vegas graffiti, if you ask me. I don't know if that's real magic or not. We got this other thing too, mental floss, Operation Cone of Power, when British witches attacked Adolf Hitler in 1940, trying to keep the UK safe from Hitler's invasion. A group of witches met by dark of night in the forest, and cauldron. What's it? What is it? Bubble, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron, bubble. Some shit like that. I probably butchered that, but anyway, you tell me. What do you believe about this? I don't know. I don't know what to think personally. Like I said, my reality is mine. Yours is yours. Let's merge them. Let's talk for the moment and see if we can come to at least an understanding for a moment. 702-957-1037. Sherry over on Rockfence says, say your prayers tonight. All right. All right. You got it. I'm not laughing at that. I'm actually laughing at that. Robert just above that said, doing the monster mash to that bumper music. All right. That's fine. That's fine by me. James, you're the best. Thanks for being patient. He literally sloughed off 3-4 people. James, are you there? F. Salcedo Paranormal, the glue of the show, the paranormal expert of troubled minds. Test 1, 2. I don't hear James. James. Discord break. Oh, he's rebooting. He's changing Discord. All right, we got James. We got, looks like Matt. We got APOC. We got Kelly. We got line calls, wall to wall. Go right ahead, James. I think.
Hello?
Test 1, 2. What's up, buddy? Are you there? I hear you.
Yep. I heard an echo there, but I think you just killed it, so I think we're good.
Oh, did I? No, I didn't. I did right now. I did. See, thanks again. By the way, tell me if you guys are on Discord. The reason I do that, just FYI, I do that so you can hear the bumper music playing when we're doing breaks and shit, so you can kind of like hear the timing of things. And sometimes when I come back, I forget to turn it off, and you get echo on yourselves. So do remind me if you're on Discord and you hear an echo. Just tell me there's an echo, and I'll just kill it. And just anyway, go right ahead. What's up, James? Thanks for being patient. You're the best, brother. What do you think about this occult war? You think this is actually real? Or you think it's a bunch of bullshit?
Well, I think there's, as usual, there's multiple sides to all this. I definitely, as we talked about earlier in a Discord chat, there's no doubt that there's propaganda there going on, like you said and like I said. But I just found it interesting that the headlines didn't just say magic, Ukraine uses magic against us or whatever. It was, basically they called it black magic, as in like evil and dark magic. And so, because again, there always has to be a good guy, a bad guy narrative for everything, and it's just, and again, the whole thing is terrible, just so people don't misunderstand me. I'm not for any kind of killing of anyone. But yeah, I thought that was just really, really well placed propaganda there, if nothing else. But then also, like you were saying, what if there was something? And I wouldn't be surprised if there was more of this going on out there than obviously we're able to find out about, because it can be done. It's a metaphysical thing. It doesn't. There don't have to be records of this stuff. It's all about your intentions and your energy that you're putting out, and whatever ritual you're doing. There's no paperwork there, or at least there doesn't have to be. So
they always say the job's not done until you complete the paperwork. in this case, that's I guess it doesn't track. Yeah. It's so I just I find all this really interesting. Partly it's because I think we were talking about this the other day. How at least a few of us were. How it's so hard to trust anything that comes out of any news organization. I think, at least to me anyway, at this point. So who knows how much of it, if any of that, was accurate. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, haven't those symbols been around, like in the news on and off for a while anyway, even before this latest thing that you posted, or that you shared? Yeah, I'm not sure. So I know the Z symbol. Like for some reason, like Russia's like drawing Z's on their like tanks and shit and their trucks out there in Russia, which doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me. Because look, if I was like because what happens is like in wartime it's sloppy and people steal vehicles and you end up winning a battle and they abandon, like one side runs, so you take all their shit. Like I would if I was the other side, I'd put Z's on all my shit too, just to confuse the fuck out of the other guys. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't like. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It seems like that Z on the side, that's happening, right? But I don't know about like this weird graffiti that they send. I think it's a pretty sloppy job. Like if you're literally going to say they're using sigil magic, at least put some fucking sigils up there. Like, I mean, come on now. It looks like I said, it looks like bad graffiti underneath like a Vegas bridge or something, right? I mean, and by the way, as much a guff as Vegas gets for being like a dirty city and whatnot, it's just kind of down there in like the tourist area. Like up here where I live, man, our highways are pristine. There's not a single drop of graffiti anywhere. See what I did there? Words are hard, James. But I mean, okay. So anyway, I digress a little bit. But I think if you're gonna accuse them of witchcraft, like why not put some like legitimate symbols? This seems like a sloppy job. It seems like a sloppy false flag effect to me. See what I said there? That's not what I meant. Okay. Anyway, so you get what I mean. I think this is fake. I think it's fake. I think it's fake news, and I think it's just more propaganda to blame the other side. But yeah, go ahead. Thoughts on there?
Yeah. Or if it's not the same symbol as I was thinking it was, then maybe those two different symbols are the opposing symbols to something. Maybe it's not just a Z and it's not just a graffiti. Maybe those are both some kind of magic, or at least in some cases that can be. Whether that's being used in this case or not, who knows? But that makes you wonder. And that makes me wonder now about when you go into areas and you see any kind of graffiti on buildings or on vehicles. Is it always just artists doing stuff on buildings just for the sake of art? Or
just for the sake of art, or as if on cue, Night Stalker adds to the chat, sorcerer tags. So is it for the sake of art, James, or is this a sorcerer tag?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if there's some kind of weird, again, if there's this one symbol being the Z, or this one symbol being drawn on the Russian vehicles, and then they're finding this other symbol in other places. Who knows? But yeah, so I feel like all this is definitely possible out there, and I do agree with that. I wish I had more to add to what Jennifer said. My gosh. But yeah, so no, that was basically my only thoughts. Is just it's amazing what you can figure out just by dissecting the headlines of these articles based on what they don't even say.
Yeah, and again, like I said, there's a bit of a synchro mysticism in this, and that if you pay attention to these patterns and see what's actually happening in these news cycles, it is kind of like magic in some cases. And so, I don't know. I'm sniffing this out as propaganda bullshit, but I think there's a bigger conversation to be had in terms of if the powers that be believe in, let's say, wartime magic, should we? You're the best, James. Yeah, always a pleasure. Thanks for being patient. Like I said, James is the glue of this show. Look, when nobody calls, James dips in. He's like, I don't have much to say, but I'm going to come help Mike. I appreciate that so much. When so many people call and James is first, he's like, no, let them go first. I'll wait. James, you're the best, man. Thank you so much for being part of this. Like I said, James is the glue of this show that makes it all go around. So thank you so much. Please give James a follow. Salcedo Paranormal. He does a paranormal podcast 5 nights a week. You can find it. Links in the description down below, and it's great stuff. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 5 nights a week, paranormal stuff. He does book reviews now. He does paranormal news, spooky stories from the internet. Go say hi. James seems amazing on the show here. He's more amazing in person. Come meet the guy. James, you're the best, brother.
Well, thank you. I'm going to just sit back and listen, and I'll chime in later on if something comes up.
Right on. You're welcome too. All right, let's do it. Let's go to Matt in California. Thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead, my friend. How are you tonight? Test.
Hey, Mike. How's it going? Hey, what's up, Mike?
I caught you sitting back puffing on something, didn't I? I'm doing good, Matt. What's up, brother? What's on your mind tonight? I'm sure you got some takes on the warfare and magic here. You think this stuff's real?
Yeah, I want to talk about the magic. I don't know much about war and stuff, but I believe that, there probably is some dark kind of things going on in the background, maybe of helping people win wars or helping people win scrimmages. But, there's in all this stuff, and it's been going on, what's going on in Bohemian Grove. And, was it John Dee? He was the court magician. How do you get that job?
Yeah,
so that's
Queen Elizabeth I. Interestingly, so tonight when I was digging through a bunch of the stuff regarding warfare and the rest of that, guess whose name came up? You guessed it, John Dee. Yeah, John Dee. Yeah, John Dee and warfare. I think Napoleon was in there. Hitler, of course. There's some interesting sort of. What was the other name? Hold on, I got another name here. Another famous name from the past. Sir Francis Walsingham. Let's see. There's more. There's a lot of names that actually popped up in terms of magic and warfare. It's pretty wild that to think that this stuff's actually real. But sorry, I interrupted you. You were on John Dee. Go right ahead.
I'm just saying it's been going on, but I just want to talk about magic and how in our society and the way we have it now, it's always the wicked witch of the west, the evil queen with the poison apple, and it's always bad. It's bad things. They portray it that way on purpose to try to get people to stay away from it. But I believe, and I'm here to let people know, it's not like that. With magic, I think everybody does magic in their own way. And what magic really is using your intent and your will to create a change in the environment. Subtle or major. And so when you break it down like that, we all do magic every day. When you pray, when you say a prayer, this is all this stuff is magic. And we want to try to win, right? We want to try to do the best we can. I think it all comes down to the individual and how you were raised. If you were raised in you're a bad person, then your magic could be kind of bad. But I think in order to do this stuff, in order to understand how magic works and do magic, you have to have a foundation, a solid foundation to work upon, to build up upon. And it comes to think of in Christianity, they call it the golden rule. And this goes through all religions. But the golden rule, what's the golden rule? Do unto others as you would want done unto you. Something of that sort. And in witchcraft, it's called do what thy will, harm none. And what that means is there's no way you can go through life without harming someone. It's the intent. You don't want to hurt anybody. So if I walk through a field and odds are I'm going to step on a bug, but I'm not intentionally going through that field trying to step on a bug. It just might happen. As long as I'm not intent, on hurting someone or destroying something, that's the bad magic. That's the battle magic. That's the kind of magic we try to stay away from, because if you are intentionally trying to hurt somebody, which that would be hexing or cursing or trying to intentionally hurt somebody, our belief is that everything you do comes back 3 times. So if you intentionally try to hurt someone or intentionally try to a negative kind of thing, that's black magic. And that's why we kind of stay away from that. We kind of push that on the road. It's not necessary because I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I don't intentionally want anybody to hurt. I'm trying to help everybody, right? So it's all about intention of the individual. And if you get dragged into this, or if the government wants people, because they even did stuff. What's the Montauk Project? Is that the Montauk Project where they were using people for psychic abilities, for remote viewing, remote viewing on people and spying on people?
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into that. That's Philadelphia experiment kind of crisscrosses. Again, some people say it's all horse shit, but there's a lot to it. That's what Stranger Things was based on. 11 and the psychic experiments, and there's a lot with Montauk. But yeah, you're right. You're spot on.
Yeah, so I think that it's been going on for a long time. And then one thing too, my personal theory is that, and this goes off of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he was teaching, this this mysticism, this powers, and he had the tablets. He had them in a secret place underneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, and he invited people to come to learn these arts. You had to be in the club to come in to learn these mystic schools. And I believe, this is personal, just my belief theory, that people like Jesus, Moses, who's the other guy, Solomon, King Solomon, these people went there and they learned they learned magic, and they were initiated into this whatever you want to call it, the school of mysticism under the pyramid. The pyramid was actually an initiation made for initiation rituals, and they initiated people into this mysticism school under the pyramids. And a lot of things, and at the end of the books, it kind of leaves it open. You don't really know where the Emerald Tablets are. But I believe, just a personal belief, that the Emerald Tablets are still underneath the pyramid, and that they're still teaching these mysticism schools. But you have to be in the club. You have to be in the know to go there and learn that kind of magic. And what if those people are the people that are like controlling everything, like Disney or the government, whoever wants to win the war, I'm wondering if that's going on.
Yeah, it's
still happening.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that they call that the mystery schools, right? That there's some sort of like esoteric stuff going on that is not taught, except in it's a big club and you ain't in it. And that's the terrifying part about this in terms of like warfare on a global scale. If it's a big club and we ain't in it, well then and they're believing this mystery school stuff of the esoterics and this maybe ancient God knows what, like let's say Mars is the god of war, let's say, worshiping Mars, right?
Yes,
like something like this. I mean that's the type of stuff where you're like, wait the fucking minute, back to the Rohan thing. If they believe this is real and it's not, it's fucking terrifying. If it's real and they're like actually doing rituals to ritual sacrifice, like thousands of people slaughter in war, that's worse. They're both fucked up, but I mean, like, flip your coin, it's both bad, isn't it? No matter what you choose.
Yeah, so I don't know how to really bring it back into like war, but you mentioned the god of war Mars, so that's there. They would probably be using symbols and sigils of Mars, Aries symbol, and then there's also like protection charms. There has been throughout battles, throughout war. Always people have worn protection charms, and so a lot of people like the cross, the equal arm cross is a protection charm for people. If that's what you believe in, it protects you. That's good. There's protection charms. The pentacle, the Ankh of the Egyptians was a protection charm. The Eye of Horus is a protection symbol. So that if there's battle magic, and there's also protection magic too. So it works both ways. In a war, I don't know how that will work, but I'm just saying that I guess it's not too far fetched to believe that there's some sinister kind of. Like you were talking, those generals in the war room, and they're moving the pieces around like X's and O's, and they're making the plays, scrimmages on the battlefield, and then there's like some like in the next room, there's some like a bunch of people in robes trying to say, well, okay, well this star is aligned to here, and the tea leaves were this way, so we should move our people over here, like try to change the battle.
They're like, for the love of God, don't attack on Tuesday. Exactly. Tuesday. Yeah, don't do Tuesday. They're like, hey bro, dip your head in the portal and talk to the dark sorcerers and find out if Tuesday's a good day. I mean, it's wild, right? But if this shit's really going on, man, I mean, that's even worse. That's even worse. People definitely believe it. And if like the powers that be that like run, killing tens of thousands or millions of people make these decisions, holy fuck, man. like that. The world is a crazy place. That's for sure, right?
Yeah, I'm just here to tell people it's not all bad. It really is up to the individual. So it's not. We're not. You know me. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to help people.
Yeah. Same.
So it's all about intent. Yeah. So that's the same thing. You do magic, but it's all about intent. The individual's intent. So as far as like black magic and like that kind of thing, I guess it has to do with the personality you are. And there's a reason why a lot of this stuff is like you have to become initiated into it. It's because they want you to study it first. Like you can't just, I make the joke, Becky goes to Hot Topic and buys a crystal and now she's a witch. It doesn't work like that. You have to study this stuff and learn it first. And then you self-initiate. And most of the studies in like basic witchcraft, there's levels that you have to, you study for a year. Each level is a study of a year. And that's how, I've been studying this for years and years. But you study it for a year the first year you study, you don't learn any spells, any kind of like magic circle, anything like that. You learn the science and the history of witchcraft. And I think that's important. You need to, like I said, you have to have a basic solid foundation. And what that does is it weeds a lot of people out, because if it's not for you, it's not for you. And that's fine, right? But you find out in a year, if you study for something for a year, you'll figure it out if it's not for you or not. And then if you want to continue the study, you initiate and then you go to the next level. So it's a foundation that it's like a structure that is built up upon. And if you have bad intentions, if you're just a bad person, you can still do magic. Anybody can do magic. You don't have to study it. Anybody can do it. So that's kind of what's scary too, is there's just like there's good people in the world, there's bad people in the world. So I'm thinking, maybe if bad people are doing bad magic, then that could be like counterbalancing the white magicians,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing too. So like you say, there's always balance, right? At the yin and the yang, we talk about dualism and all the rest of this. And I believe in many ways that stuff is true. Just because like that, you can't sort of like sniff out intention in the heart of human beings, right? Until you see it manifest as it becomes something, right? It's like like we all have that darkness inside of us, right? And so look, we could all be dirty, rotten rat bastards, right? But like we don't have to be, and I think that's the dualism of that. Just nature. I think it's all like the matter, antimatter. It's science. It's just it sort of manifests in ourself. And in the same term, magic. It's like if you have black magic, then certainly you have white magic.
Yeah.
It seems to track. Yeah. So perfect. I appreciate you as always, man. Thanks for being patient and waiting. I know we got a long wait here. Lots of people behind you too. I'm like, fuck. How am I going to squeeze all these people in? It's Trouble Minds Friday, so who gives a fuck? We're going to just keep talking. You're the best, bro. What else you got?
That's it. I just was gonna say, yeah. I'm no saint either, so I just trying to live a magical life and I'm trying to help people and talk about this stuff. It's good we're talking about it, because I just want people to know that it's not what Hollywood portrays. It's always like the wicked, evil witch. It's not what Hollywood's portraying. That is Hollywood bullshit.
Yeah.
There's good witches too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back to the old, you click the three heels. Are you a good witch or are you a bad witch? They wouldn't pose that question unless they were both. You're the best, Matt.
Oh, and one thing I wanted to add about the cone of power.
Sure.
When you're saying the cone of power, how it's like you raise the power and then you release it.
Yep.
That's the reason why witches and wizards wear pointy hats. It's a symbol of the cone of power.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that. Say, yeah.
There you go.
Learning things, Matt. You're the best. I appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. Thanks, mate.
have a fantastic one, Matt in California. Always a pleasure. Tell Lacey I said hi. Thanks for listening. You're the best, bro. There you go. Hey, we're doing this. Kelly, hang tight. We're going to go to Rob real quick. Be fast, Rob. We're squeaking you in on the phone. Rob, you're on Troubled Minds. You got like super fast. Make your points. We got so many people behind you that have been waiting on this long ass time. Welcome. Hey. Go right ahead, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm going to make this quick. It's just one little point. Yeah, like Matt said, though, I have like a Wiccan friend. She's like a witch, and like her practice is like out of positivity and stuff. So it's like she says that like Wiccan culture is like based on that, like don't harm other beings and stuff.
Right, exactly. Like, back to the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? The same thing. It's like, so if your intention is to harm people, like Matt said, and I've heard this, it comes back threefold, right? So if you do actually say, I'm going to do a spell to hurt somebody or whatnot, you can do this, and this does exist in the world. However, it does turn around and come back at you threefold. So it depends on the intention. It always depends on the intention, right? And there is a cost to dark magic, right?
Yeah. And I was also going to say, I don't know if this is like going off the hinges of the topic, but like ritual and spell, like Call of Duty games and all those war games that they just kind of, infiltrate into the structure of society and all these young people. I wonder if that's like some kind of spell or like ritual to brainwash, like, people to get in that warfare like mindset. Not like shitting on video games or anything, because I play video games, but it seems like a ritual, and it's like the most high selling, like mainstream thing. And it's almost like casting these people like under spells.
Oh shit! Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah. So in terms of that, like it's like a cultural sort of how would you say it? Like indoctrination to war, to desensitizing, and the rest of that. I'm with you too. I think it's a fascinating conversation, and like they say it's like a right wing religious talking point. I don't know. I think the power of suggestion is also there, and you could kind of spin this into, if you want to go like full off the rails. Like how come like stuff like Columbine didn't happen till like the recent past, and because it seems to track with sort of that desensitization of games like Doom and first-person shooter games, right? Like I don't know. Like that's we're not going to get into those weeds tonight, but it is a fascinating conversation in the terms of magic. And there we go. I don't know, man. You're the best, bro. You're the best. Thanks for dipping in. We got so many people waiting. Robin, Florida, always a pleasure. We'll catch you a little bit later. Okay, hang tight. Thanks for calling. You're the best, bro.
Man. Yeah, have a good night.
Thanks, you too. There you go. Sorry about that. Sorry, we had so many people waiting for so long. Kelly in Colorado, go right ahead. You've been waiting for fucking ever. What's up, my man? Happy birthday, post-birthday day. How's the hangover? What's up, bro?
Pretty good, man. How you guys doing?
Hey, okay. Thanks for being patient. You've been waiting for a fuck ton of a long time. What do you think, man? What do you think about magic, warfare, and all the rest of this stuff? You were in the military, too. Do you think there was some shenanigans happening with that? And don't tell us anything that'll get you thrown in jail. meaning, on that Navy ship, was there like a portal with you dip your head in to like consult the sorcerers in the cauldron? What's up, bro? Go ahead.
Oh man, yeah. My thoughts on war and magic. That's all got like one in. It's in hand, more or less. I mean, you go back to ancient, all the way through the ancient histories, through ancient religions. They all talk about that, right? There's everybody. Especially if you have like what goes on with war, that's one reason why.
Kelly, real quick. Stop just a sec. Stop just a sec. Your internet is going brr, 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 brr. So it's not your microphone; it's your internet. So let's take a deep breath and hopefully get the internet hiccups out. Try it again.
You hear me better?
Yeah, it's better. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just saying, it was like warfare and magic has been going on for a while, all through the ancients, right? So I'll give you some examples. You kind of like briefly talked about it, like, gods of war, gods of war. They've been, with Greece, it's Ares, Roman, Mars, Chinese, it was Guan Yu, Vikings, Rodin. The Inca, they had one called Lilliput. Hindus were Skanda. Excuse me. Mayan was the Azbolic Shabutan. Egyptian was Motun. Sumerian was Nergal. And also with the oracles, you have those oracles, right? They were, used to go to see them to kind of like see in the future or before they made any kind of movements with war or like, anything that happens within, the people of their, of their establishments, they went to them before they made any kind of move. It's supposed to be with the kings and stuff. And if you didn't, you never did go against the oracle, so which is kind of interesting too. But religions, all religions were talk about witches and warlocks or wizards or whatever. And one I'm just gonna kind of talk briefly was this is actually the Christian Bible, right? Christian Bible, and in Numbers 22:30 it talks. Oh, that one. That's I'll skip that one real quick. Leviticus 26, they talk about wizards. Exodus 22:18 is witches. It had magic all through all that stuff. It's kind of, if you look at even like with Moses, his staff turned into a snake. Jesus, he walked on water, turned water into wine. And one of the things that kind of interesting too is that all religion, it seemed like with they went with war. You got to say, it was talking about like kind of what Jennifer was saying. You wanted to. They didn't die. They went somewhere else. Like Valhalla and stuff. But in the Bible, it's Ephesians, right? It's 6:11, and they talk about donning the armor of God. It's called the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, the lion's gird of truth, the sword of the Spirit, the foot shod with the preparation for the gospel of peace. So these things have been talking about for a while, and then and with that, if you're talking with that, right, and both sides are these poor guys that are going to war, right? They're all believing in some kind of a god, right? Either one, or if it's Middle Easterners, they're whatever kind of religion they're talking about, and their god that that supersedes them. Everybody's praying to them, Then you got mothers or parents or sisters, brothers. Everybody's family members are praying to their gods, to against war. Both sides not only take care of, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to cast some kind of a evil type spell or something, just to make sure that their loved ones come back home, and with that, excuse me, and with that, it's kind of hard, that's why it took a lot of toll on me too, because I used to go to these other countries and see these these people, and they were just like us, just like regular people, man, just trying to earn a wage, living or whatever, get some money, some food on their table for their families, and that was it. It's these governments that doing all this stuff, and it's the truth. It's kind of like it's I kind of mentioned this in Discord where I say that like so-called regular civilians, they don't really believe in this stuff. They think it would be called hogwash, because that's what put into them, conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call it. But what's interesting is that the governments are still doing it. So if it isn't real, then why are they doing it? We're talking, all throughout the government, whatever they're doing, and it is certain dates they do. That's what I was kind of wondering, like the one that just passed, with the new moon and the solar eclipse. I'm pretty sure. I'm not everything that's going to work in their favor. I'm sure maybe it was like a new birth or relighting, so maybe that was something powerful for the light side instead of whatever dark magic these people are using, because it's been going on for a while. Here's an example. You guys can go ahead and look this guy up. It was called Satanism in the military. Speaking of this guy, his name was Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, Aquino. His specialization was in physiological operations. Right, he was one of the first ones to found it. He found the first tax-exempt and government-recognized satanic institution. It was called the Temple of Set. SET, like
Wait.
Egyptian.
I'm gonna stop you for a couple reasons. Number one, your internet's a little spooky right now. It's glitching out. But also, you said tax exempt. Can you please elaborate? How the fuck did we get there? Is there some tax exempt magic I need to know? let's try your internet again. Go ahead. Yeah, he was breaking up. Go ahead. Sorry.
He's using the tax exempt because it's a church, just like a church. It's a satanic institution. So it was more of a church, so he got a tax exempt. He was the first one to do that within the government, and it was called the Temple of Set. Like the Egyptian god Set, right? It's called the Temple of Set, and it was established in 1975. He would join in the military, but this is the thing too. He was even actually I don't know what he was doing. I guess he was being looked at by the police by the state police. And he was raided. His house was raided, and they found all this pornography of him doing satanistic rituals with children and stuff. And the thing about it was he wasn't charged with anything because he was a CIA operative, and it was deemed his whole thing, that whole situation with him was deemed classified material or for the government. The wording for it. So. Yeah, this stuff's been going on, man. Like even in the military, and you guys kind of were coughing, like just scoffing at the point of these guys in the room. I'm pretty sure that they were doing that type of shit. If these, even if the government, like all these so-called, these government leaders or these billionaires were meeting in, over in California, they're all praying to something. But what is it? What? Them was Moloch, over in California. So. Yeah, man. All these guys been twisted in something. All this stuff. I'm pretty sure that this has been. And then actually, I've been through it. Well, I've been through it, but I just kind of read through some of the stuff that, throughout history, this has been going on for a long time. I have different theories on the reason why they do this and stuff, or. Because the humans were is going to be part of this warfare. That's this galactic warfare, more or less, is what it is in the background of all things. But yeah, man, I believe it.
So you're saying a definite maybe? Definite maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the fascinating part about it. It's like, again, back to the Rohan statement a while ago, and it's the fucking true. If the elites believe, and I mean elites as the asshole leaders of the world, believe it's true, and it's not, they're doing these weird fucking rituals, and that just makes them fucking super weirdos. But then the worst part is, what if it is true? And then it makes us the victims of their weirdo rituals. It's fucked up, Kelly. It's fucked up. That's why we talk about this stuff,
It is, man. It's kind of like what Mike was saying, King Solomon, his thing too was also controlling demons. It's kind of curious. It's just kind of like with Thoth, the Emerald Tablets. That was a teaching, but it wasn't. That was something totally different, But these ancient arts have been passed down throughout. It's been passed down through generations, and even all through all that whole area, where Russia is at, and Ukraine. What's interesting to me is like. These governments, again, they're destroying all these ancient places, like Iraq, Syria, and now we're over there. And over there, what's interesting about that place, Ukraine, is on the west side of it, on the southwest, I believe. That's where the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea is at. And again, those were like in that area, that's where those elongated skulls were found. I mean, you can go down this rabbit hole for a while because this connections. That is weird for what? I mean, we really don't even know the true reason why he's even in there, But he's saying that he's trying to free it from Nazism, and we're just getting some of these weird. I mean, like it wasn't like somebody threatened anybody. It's just an invasion for what? But again, they're in all these ancient. They're not like in some of these countries got some ancient sites, right? But they also have like up to date shit, like regular cities that most people have. They're not attacking those; they're attacking all the old shit. They're bombing all the old shit for what? I mean, it's like they're hiding something. There's something that they're maybe that they're forgotten and they're trying to get rid of. That's my theory on some of that stuff.
Yeah, get rid of the old the esoterics that we're not supposed to know, that we can't know because they've already lifted it and they're using it. Yeah, wild shit, man. That's why we do the fucking thing. Kelly, you're the best brother. We got calls behind you as well. You gonna hang? You gonna bounce?
No, man, I'll hang out, but I'm gonna be on mute, man. So
All right,
have a good evening and talk.
You too, my man. Kick your feet up. Tell Michelle I said hi. You're the best brother. Thanks for being you, and appreciate you as always. All right, let's do it. Let's keep on trucking. We're going to keep on trucking. A couple of super hilarious comments. Box of Pain wants to know my take on Freemasonry and Judaism. No comment. It's complicated. Look. Like in a binary world, everybody wants your which side are you on? You're this side or the other side. No. I'm on the side where I think things are more complicated than like a binary or you with this or against that. Right? That's my comment on that. So my comment is no comment. It's a longer conversation and it's complicated. And I'm not going to talk about it right now because we're at the end of this show and it's about something else. All right. Number 2, Dawn in the chat says, Mike, make a religion of troubled minds. No. No, double hell no. Let me ask you. Let me ask the chat this right now. This is a super funny thing, and I got you, APOC. We're about to go to you, but I got a question real quick. If troubled minds becomes a religion, and let's say goes Satanism, right? Not as Satanism as like whatever you want to interpret it as, but as like a wink wink tax exempt structure. Do you hate me or do you love me? In the chat. Let's go to APOC. APOC, welcome to Troubled Minds. Sorry to put you after that, but how you feeling? Hope you're feeling
it's okay. I'm having to be a little low key right now because my throat is still recovering. I've got this dry cough, but it's getting better. So, yay. But I didn't have anything to say until Jen called, and what I was saying in the chat earlier was, nobody wants to follow Jen, but she comes up with so much great stuff. How could you not want to follow her because she makes you, think about all this other stuff that you hadn't thought about before.
Right? Exactly. Hey, lemons and lemonade, right? It's like everybody's like, oh God, I can't follow that. But you're right. Like she literally peeled up and this is the thing about so many callers on this show. Jen especially, Night Stalkers. You guys know who they are. You especially, Kelly especially. There's so many people that have been here for a long time. Matt, there's so many. James, you can't name everybody. There's the Robert. I gotta mention the Robert 3 times. The Robert. I'm summoning the Robert because I always leave him out. There's so many people. You can't actually name them all because there's so many things. And everybody's like, oh God, I don't want to follow Jen. She's brilliant. But you're right. Like, why wouldn't you want to? Like, she brought up like 100 points or like 100 shows. So yeah. Fucking right. Go right ahead. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then everyone who followed her and everyone before that, they were great on their points too. I did want to quickly say before I go to what triggered me to call in from what Jen said, I do want to say Kelly brought up a good point about the war thing, because in 2014, before the thing in Ukraine happened in that year, it was just before that they came out with all this news about these ancient spots in the Ukraine and certain structures. And when they went in 2014, I'm like, I wonder if that could be connected. So I'm sort of in the same vein as Kelly, or at least, I think it's possible that there might be something like that going on. But anyway, Jen was talking about our intention and words and sort of psychology, and I just wrote about this today because I've been thinking about it for about a week. I always think about this stuff, but this, there was something that just wanted to come out of me today, so I wrote about it. And we have, there's our natural sort of inclination is to do the best case scenario for us in the physical body, we default to survival. So we learn strategically these like social manipulations and these things that allow us to continue to propagate and continue to move forward, right? And so people sort of learn to use words and emotions and stuff like that to manipulate their way through life, regardless of whether they realize that they're doing it. And I mean, a baby cries, but at some point a baby doesn't cry because they need food anymore. Sometimes a baby will start crying because they don't get what they want, and it's like, and so they know that they'll probably get what they want if they continue to cry. They'll be handed that thing or whatever. So we sort of have this survival instinct to use this natural, quote unquote, inclination to manipulate our way through life, but it's so like subconscious. It's in the back of our heads. We don't realize in many cases that that's what we're doing, and I think in most cases we don't realize that that's what we're doing. And part of my journey has been to recognize and realize and be aware as much as I possibly can, and that's a daily basis and sometimes like a moment by moment basis. What are my intentions behind what I'm saying? Is this something that could get misconstrued or that somebody might find offensive or whatever, just because I don't want to put that stuff out there? I want to be aware, right? Aware of exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it, but still I want to be free, right? To be myself in respect to I need to lower my voice here. My throat's starting to trigger. I think that we all want to be free to be exactly who we are. And I think exactly who we are is that person that doesn't have those filters, that doesn't have those inclinations of control or manipulation in the way that we speak to people, or our wants and our desires and our needs and our expectations and if they all have to come from outside of us, if they all have to come from other people, it's a little concerning. And Krishnamurti is an incredible guy. He spent like the last part of his life hoping to express himself well enough to help give people the ability to question themselves enough to gain the freedom of being completely themselves, and being true to themselves, which basically is the removal of the need to have something from somebody else, right? Or something from the world in that respect, but just to simply be aware of our cycle, be aware of our mental cycle, be aware of what we're thinking before we say it. And if we do that, and I've busted through a few times, but I'm not, again, it's a daily thing. I'm sometimes a minute by minute thing. But the times that I have busted through those habits and learned social characteristics and language magic, so to speak. On the other side of that is this, and part of me is always sort of using that other side because I'm an artist, I'm creative, and I think on that other side is that power for art, for being artistic, for being a philosopher, for doing what you do, Mike, and having being able to question and being able to think of new ideas, and all these wonderful people in your group, can do this as well, thinking of all these amazing ideas and saying, what if, I might think this, but what if this other thing is true? That sort of removes the veil. If it's a double-sided mirror and you have the manipulative part on one side, then on the other side, you have this, when you break through the mirrored veil and you can see through the glass, you have this reservoir of incredible creativity and curiosity and self, and that unique thing that is you, that is also connected to the whole. And I think that this idea of this unintentional intention of manipulation throughout our society and daily life and all of this is exactly what creates war. It's exactly what creates separation. It's exactly what creates dissonance and destruction and a closed box instead of an open door. And I think that if we can just sort of become aware of the quote unquote magic, which it is, if you want to define it that way, and Jen did, and I like that, if we can get out of this box of manipulation magic, then we can find ourselves, we can see through that glass, and we can tune into our true intentions and realize it's not just about us or our expectations or what we need or what we want or survival or physicality, but also everything else and everyone else. And so that's it. I mean, I wanted to say that, and thank you so much, Jen, for inspiring me to call in and make that connection between that, because it kind of helps me on my way, on my journey, right?
It was me and myself. No, look, I can't even like say enough. Like, it's not even about me, like, personally, right? It's not about you, APOC, personally. Anybody personally, it's not. I mean, it is. Like, in larger terms, it eventually becomes that. But, like, fuck's sakes, like, if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, even like days or even like several weeks, this is not propaganda, right? Like, we'll skirt propaganda and talk about those implications from time to time, but fuck's sakes, like, actual, like, mind control is real. This shit is real, right? And so hearing other people talk about, like, their heart and their mind and their soul, talk about it, right? Like, it validates some things for you. It makes you, like, realize, okay, I'm not insane, right? Like, the bullshit I hear, like, from Fox News and CNN, it's all bullshit, right? But like we doubt ourselves. All of the media brainwash. We doubt. We feel differently, right? Because it doesn't seem like this shit is real in the real world. It's like, who fucking knows anybody that's like Tucker Carlson or Don Lemon, right? Like, who knows anybody that's actually like those people? Like, I don't know anybody that's like either of those people, but apparently they exist. We're told they exist. And here we are, regular people in the middle of all that shit, the muck, like fucking the bullshit up to our neck, like, to just kicking our chin up to try and breathe, wondering what's real. And yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're totally right. Like I said, you're pointing out Jen, but there's so many other people. You included, everybody here. The whole point is, like, you need to hear other people speak, because it unlocks things inside of your brain that you have. It's like, interestingly, right? We're talking about war tonight, but look, in some cases, as you speak right now, APOC, we've turned war on its head, and we've said, look, like, collectively, we entirely reject the notion of it. Like, there's no, I don't give a fuck about the Geneva Convention or any other thing. There's no justification for butchering people. There's zero, right? And again, like, there are a few things I'm emphatic about. Like, this is the fucking truth of the world. But fuck's sakes, there are zero reasons in this whole world we should just be butchering people. Come on. Right. Come on now. Like, and this is what I always say, and you know me. You've been listening for quite some time. You good friend of mine. The thing is this. Why are we here? Why are we enduring all this bullshit that's going on? And why can we do nothing about it? If that's not the riddle and the conundrum of, like, the ages, I don't know what the fuck is. Yeah, go ahead.
I think in part, And there's absolutely nobody on this planet that can answer that question, by the way, Mike. But I think in part there is power in our collective consciousness in respect to realizing certain things in psychology and in our minds. Basically, once we recognize something, once we realize that we're doing it, we either default to a different habit or we recreate the same habit later over time, or we continue to become aware of it as it pops up and aware of anything else that results from that, and we continue to keep on top of it and resolve it once we get it. But once we know it, our brain, our subconscious, automatically picks a different technique, picks a different strategy to do things. And I think in part that's what we're here to do. I think in part people who feel this way, who understand these things, who know a different way than we've developed over the course of these several thousand, few hundred years, I think that we, in part, can, whether that's part of our purpose or not, we can create an environment or an energy or something that can help the possibility of something else bleed into the collective consciousness and therefore give everyone else a different option, a choice, which that's, by the way, what the end of my writing was about, is about personal freedom becoming a unified freedom in a way. And so I think that in part we can, just by being here, just by thinking, just by realizing some of these things, we do put what we have understood or realized or had personal experiences of in this way into the collective, which allows the rest of the world to be able to make a choice from that point on. It's the 100th monkey thing, and that might be part of why we're here.
Or also not. Because
maybe not. Maybe it's something completely different.
And I don't mean to undermine you. I just mean in general terms of this is why we talk about these things. Like, you may be spot on and 100% right. But that's look, I'm not the judgment. I'm not the guy in the black robe with the fucking hammer. I'm not that guy, right? Especially in a celestial sense. So point being, and so I'm also not just talking to you. I'm also talking to the chat, right? There's some what's up? There's some people out there that are determined to say one thing or the other, right? Again, the binary. This is right, that's wrong type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that people understand that it's not what this is about. This is not a like an agenda driven, we're going to shit on this, that, or the other thing, other than concepts. We talk about concepts here, and take everybody's opinion as well. Tell me, let's talk about your way of life. Let's talk about life as you know it. And then again, APOC and I, very different people, have very different beliefs in very many things, but we also good friends and respect each other a lot and listen to what each other says, because if you respect people and know they're intelligent and, are not trying to brainwash you, why wouldn't you listen to what they have to say? Right. just like APOC said, she heard Jen call and was inspired to call in because there's a lot of things that kind of just perked up in her brain. And that's the point. That's the whole point of conversations. It's not binary, right or wrong. It's not, again, please politically speaking, there's no left or right. Don't let them fucking fool us. There's not. It does not exist. It's if we're talking about meme magic and war magic, that's left and right. That's war magic right there. That's literally pulling sides of a people that should be together and making them apart. That's magic. That's war magic right there. And there we go. You're the best, APOC. I know you got a voice thing going on. I'm glad you're feeling better enough to call in. Kick your feet up. Take a rest and smoke a cigar for me. Puffy Cuban.
I did want to chime in and just say I feel exactly the same way when it comes to, staying open at the top and don't lock stuff in. At least, I mean, that's for me, right? I don't lock stuff in. All of this could be completely the opposite of what anybody is saying, right? Or different, or somewhere gray, or somewhere in the middle, and or all of the above, like you like to say. It could be all of the above. But I hope that we can sort of maintain that what you just said, which is being able to have conversations and see other points of view, and consider things. Consider all of the things, like you say. And that's all. Okay, I'm gonna rest my voice.
You're the best.
I'll talk to you later.
Kick your feet up and listen. APOC here, good friend of mine, good friend of the show. She's got a podcast called Apocalypse Tau. Check it out. Links in the description down below. She's every bit as brilliant and kind as she seems. More so, even. Join the Discord. Come say hi. She pops in from chat time to time. And definitely troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. There you go. Easy as that. Look, like I said, I am not the arbiter of any truth, right? Like, I get it. I got a platform. I'm the guy on the camera. I'm the guy with the microphone. But it doesn't matter what I say. Please don't ever give me any sort of reverence greater than anybody else. I'm just one person, and you're just one person too. It's my reality is mine, and your reality is yours. But look, if we merge those realities and talk to each other without war, without hate, without agendas, you see what happens. We inspire each other. So what would you rather have? Hate? Right? War? Or would you rather have reciprocal inspiration? Think about it. Literally think about it. And it probably take you not even a second and a half. It's almost not an option. And so if we reject the options they give us, we manifest our own future. One person is one person. Like I say, I'm me. You're you. But together, we're us. It's a powerful thing. And us only meaning not agenda driven about this political party or that political party or this religion or that religion or no religion or some religion or anywhere in between. One person and another person. And let me tell you what they want us to not know is that we have way more in common than we have in differences. And that's the fucking truth. 702-957-1037, Tam Bam in South Africa. Thanks for being patient. Jump right the fuck in. How are you tonight?
Hi. Good in you.
I'm doing okay. I'm not super mad. Sometimes I'm super mad or irritated or, rode my bike 5 miles and couldn't stand up for the rest of the thing, but I'm fine. I feel fucking fantastic. It's Troubled Minds Friday. How hard is it not to feel fantastic?
Exactly. It's all about perception, right?
As always.
If you perceive yourself as old, you're going to be old. If you perceive yourself as young, age is just a fucking number.
Get it?
Anyway,
in the words of the great Michael Savage, real quick. Michael Savage. You may hate his politics. Brilliant dude. He said, never let an old person live in your body. Go right ahead, Tam Bam.
Oh, that is so profound. But I think I totally missed the point of the topic. I'm so sorry. Because it's, in the mornings for me, I'm rushing with school stuff and whatever. And I didn't catch everyone's calls. So I think I totally missed the topic because I'm rambling on for 2 pages long on magic and science and and not the topic at hand. I'm sorry. So I have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say? Tam Bam calls in as nothing to say? What the fuck?
Well, I have 2 pages of crap.
Oh, go.
It's not relevant.
Okay. So stop demeaning yourself and fucking go. You got 2 pages to get through. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so I read the topic on Rockfin, does magic actually play a role in modern warfare? And if I look at my notes that I've actually written, you've got to look at the history of magic. You've got to look at everything that's involved in magic. You've got to look at the systems of what was to compare it to what is now called modern magic. And if you look back in the day, there were sigils from witches, there was all sorts of things. But I stumbled across an article, an interview with a scientist who said that science has obviously, in the last how many decades, has realized that science cannot exist without magic, in the sense that we are not made of matter. And science is not science is never exact. And in between that matter is energy. And energy can be manipulated. Therefore, if energy can be manipulated, it is magical. Therefore, science and magic and energy manipulation is actually sits under one umbrella, which really was interesting. It really made me think of other things, like if we look at energy in itself, let's take a look at a mother or a twin, and they've got a sixth sense. That is a magical sense, that is an energy. So if your twin is in trouble, or if a mother senses her child is in trouble, we instantly know because of that connection, right? It's nothing that shows up physical. That is a vibration, that is a connection. It is magic. If you look at, if you go and hug your child, and you hug your child with a specific intent, that child feels that intent. That is that energy magical connection. You're hugging on a physical platform, but the in-between energy manipulation or the energy interaction is more real than anything else. So it begs the question, if the majority of people on the earth realize that they're the majority, and the bad people out there at the top, wherever the warmongers, all those people are the minority, if we band together, come together with the right intent, the right energy matching frequency, we can change the world. So we really have to, if that's what we really want, if the majority of the people know that that's what they really want, we need to unlearn all the indoctrinated bullshit we've been raised into since birth, and our parents, to unlearn absolutely everything, switch the science from more physical to esoteric. We can literally change the world. And I'm not talking about years from now. It can be done in a day if everyone would just realize it. If everyone had the brain capacity and unlearn the indoctrination, we can do it in a day. But it's so far ingrained in us, the indoctrination of society. How do you convince people? Once that convincing is done, the change of energy, the shift, can be done in a day.
Hey, less than a day. It could be done in an instant. I think about this and talk about this often. It doesn't have to be like, for instance, just a quick example, right? We get somebody in the chat comes in and they're like, they want to shit on a particular religion, right? And they want to go shit in the chat, shit in the chat, right? Hey, get wrecked, kid. Get fucking wrecked, kid, right? Like the thing is this, look. If you want to like take an entire group of people and malign them based on your own bigotry, it's not my fucking problem. And look, if you're here to say you're with us or you're against us, you're in the wrong place. This is not the place for that. Literally, this is the anti-place for that. And look, I'll deal with some bullshit for a little bit, but the second you start to be like, oh, all of these people that are Christians, or all of these people that are Muslims, all these people that are cops, all these people that are black, whatever it doesn't matter. Insert variable here. If you're fucking acting like that, just leave. Just leave. Because if you don't, I'll leave you. I'll escort you out my fucking self. Get wrecked, kid. Stop. Think. Yeah. Your own fucking bigotry is in your own way. You're in your way. You're in your own damn way. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. Get wrecked, kid. All right? Stop. Yeah. If you want to make a new account and come back and not act like an asshole, you're welcome back. But look, this is not the rest of the internet here. This community is not the rest of the bullshit left-right paradigm that you expect to see everywhere else. Because guess what? Let me explain something to everybody real fast. You already know if you've been here for a little while. The world is not what they tell you it is. And we can make the world what we want it to be without shit like that. Sorry, Tam Bam, go ahead.
End of rant. Okay, I'm with you. 100%. No, get fucked. If someone comes and brings up a race card with me, you can actually get fucked. You are not part of my circle. I don't want your negativity. I don't want your vibration fucking near me. I consider everybody a fucking human. I don't care. I don't fucking care. People know that about me. Don't pull that shit with me. I've already blocked someone this morning because of their bullshit. I can't fucking stand it. Anyway, so then I was thinking, okay, so if you go and look at the Bible, and I'm talking about magic and vibration and intent, if you go and look at the Bible and God's creation, right? God created the earth, but it was the word of God that created the earth. So it was the sound, the vibration, and the intent that created an entire fucking universe, right? Buddhism, the monks, they pray and they have that sound that goes om. So that vibration, along with their intent, creates their reality. If we realize the magic in that, we can manifest fucking anything. If you understand that it's vibration plus intent plus the feeling that you're feeling. If you picture yourself, say for instance, this is my personal story. And you know, Mike, I have this dream board, which I haven't physically put down on a paper, but in my head, I have a dream board. So in this dream board, I actually wanted a certain amount of followers. And I put the intent there. I put the feeling in there, how I would feel once I reached that certain goal. And I imagined myself being the happiest person and thanking the universe, thanking Jesus, the whole thing. And what the fuck happened? After how many years I've been on that social media platform, in a space of 2 weeks, and actually counting today, I've actually doubled my followers organically. And as silly as that sounds, because in the greater scheme of things, followers it's really little, but it just shows you what you can do with the correct mindset, the correct feeling, the correct intent behind it. And it is magic. It's magical because it's all energy. And if I can do that with something so small, imagine the reality that I can create in my vision. Imagine my future that I can create. And if everybody fucking realized the magic that they have inside of them, imagine the future that we would all be living in. There would be basic laws. No murder, no this, no that, whatever, right? But there wouldn't be a conglomerate of monkeys running the fucking earth telling us what to do. We'd be telling them what to do.
Yeah.
And that's...
Hey, what I say to you, Tam and I had a discussion about this. She's saying Mike knows because we talked about this weeks and weeks and weeks ago. And I was like, what do you got to lose? Literally, what do you have to lose? Like, we're going to live and we're going to die. Like, like in between, right? Like, either you have regrets or you don't. Get it. Stop wondering. Stop thinking. Am I capable? Can I do this? Fuck, start. Go back. Listen to the very first fucking show Troubled Minds ever did. I left the early stuff up for a reason. Go listen. It's not brilliant. It's not novel. It's barely interesting. It doesn't matter. You got to start. You have to start. Remember? Anne Rice and the vampire, right? Magnus the vampire. The first one he made was the last one he made. But you see, he wasted all that time in between. It may have been his best work, but he also went thousands of years or hundreds of years without any work at all. Don't wait.
Yeah, life for great.
Start. Look, anybody out there, if you think you can do it, do it. Stop. If you even stop the doubts. All right? Look, don't follow the mainstream media either. They're fucking lying assholes, but start.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Tam Bam. It's magic. It's magic. It is. It's energy. It is magic. It's look, it's internet energy. I mean, it is. Look, and like I said, please, and don't take it wrong. Like Tam Bam said, she's completely right. Hey, it doesn't matter how many fucking followers you have. It doesn't make you any more or less right. You're still you, right? And if those followers turn you into more of an asshole than you were when you started, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point?
Stop and that's my intent as well.
Yeah.
My intent was with kindness and love and respect. And with that is all I'm getting back. I'm not getting trolls, except for one today. I'm really not getting hate. No trolls, no fucking nothing, because my intent was put out there from the beginning. And there was a saying, Mike, when we spoke weeks ago about this, on the same day, I actually put this quote on LinkedIn, and it said, if you realize how quickly people forget about the dead, you would stop living for everybody else. You'd be living for yourself. You'd be making your own dreams come true, because no one else is going to fucking do it. And that's magic in that quote. And it slammed me like a ton of brick. And it's like, fuck the world, I'm doing this shit.
Get it?
Yeah.
Why? Look, if you don't get it, someone else is gonna. And by the way, just because you get it doesn't mean someone else can't. They can too. you know what I mean? Like the energy in the universe is universal. Like just because you suck some out of the ether doesn't mean somebody else can't also. Get it. Stop doubting. You can do it. Get the fuck on it. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's just one more thing I wanted to say. So the CIA has released documents on, they're called the Grabovoi codes. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it's CIA documents, and it confirms that there is magic in numbers. So they have a list of certain numbers that kind of hacks the universe or hacks the matrix of planet Earth. And there's YouTube people, there's millions of people who actually believe in this. So because the CIA said it must be fucking true, right? But there is some truth in that. So these codes, there's codes for increase in money or increase in popularity or whatever the fuck case you want. There's a specific number code. And if you write this code down and you set your intention, it will come true. But I don't think it's got anything to do with the numbers. I think it's got everything to do with, here's something that you can focus on. It could be a random set. It could be a coffee mug, But if you set your intention right, that can become your lucky coffee mug that can bring you all the joy and happiness that you want, or the intention that you seek. And it's verified by the CIA. I mean, it's fucking real documents that exist.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole point. I think intention's a powerful thing. I think, again, like I said, it's interesting that you like in my terms too. Like you said, hey, if you put it out there and you're just like, hey, like this is me, and this is the way things are, and I'm not always right, and let's talk. Like it resonates. But most people are not like that. It's like hey, this is the way of the world, and if you don't fucking think like me, you're a fucking retard. You're a moron. Fuck the fuck off. Get out of here, etc. So on, right? Like from all kinds of different angles. Well, I mean, think long and hard. Like who is that literally reaching out to with those types of like. I don't know. Let's go back to Star Wars from last night. May the Fourth be with you. Right? Only Sith. Yeah. Only Sith think in absolutes. Only the bad guys think in terms of like binary solutions to everything. Right? Because that leads to absurdities. And if they can convince you of absurdities, they can lead you to atrocities. And well,
this is the problem with war. This is the actual problem with it.
That's exactly the problem. Yes. Orcs and elves.
And this is
pedos.
And this is why
Nazis. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, science is not an absolute. I mean, science is even Einstein's theories are being disproven to this day. There are so many science experiments being done, physics and whatever else being done that's disproving old science every single day. It cannot be an exact science. Nothing is exact because everything changes. Everything is energy. Everything will change. We don't know what it's going to be like in 100 years. Everything could be flipped out upside down and nothing is exact. The only thing that is exact is that when you are born, you will fucking die. And that you need to blink and that you need to breathe and you need to go pee. That is the only exact thing that there is.
Don't forget taxes. You're going to get taxed.
Well, let's change that shit too.
I agree with you. Let's change that shit too. Look, if everybody stood up tomorrow and said, fuck you, no more income tax, it would stop. But everybody's like,
well,
just so fucking like on the way, they notice that they take it out of your check in small increments, so you don't know, right? I work for myself. I worked myself for years now, and so when my tax bill comes, it's fucking ridiculous, right? So do me a favor, if you're on a W-4 and you actually are like giving like part of your check to the government all year, at the end of the year, would you please just do the math and see how much actual money you've paid to the federal government? And I think you'll probably agree with me. You'll be like, holy shit, I could have bought a new car. And then I'll be like,
for sure.
I fucking told you so. Like, it's absurd. What? Every year you're giving a fucking car to the federal government. For what? For them to fucking send billions of dollars to fucking Ukraine. That it is unclear about who's even the good guy over there. Right? I mean, fuck. Yeah. We got a phone call behind you, Tam Bam. You gonna hang?
Sure.
You're the best. Thanks for dropping in here. Stay right the fuck there. Tam Bam in South Africa, good friend of mine, good friend of the show's. Links in the description. Follow her. She's got TikTok. She's got Instagram. Like I said, she's becoming an influencer. One day I'm gonna be begging Tam Bam to be on her TikTok, and she's gonna be like, "No, Mike, I'm too busy for you." And I'm gonna be like, "Tam Bam, a TikTok's 20 seconds. Give me 4 seconds of your video," and she's gonna be like, "No, Mike." 4 seconds is way too long. The advertisers pay way more than that. Tam Bam, you're the best.
No, I'm not that low.
I know. I'm just kidding. I was more making fun of TikTok than anything else. You're the best. Stay right the fuck there. Don't go anywhere. Sure. Tam Bam is the best. Follow all the Tam Bam in the links in the description. Her link tree. Follow everybody else as well. Let's go to Big Y in Hawaii. Waiting for a very long time. What's up, brother? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
I'm well, brother. How are you?
Hey, okay, man. What are your thoughts on all the rest of this shit? As usual, in the third hour, we kind of digress here and there. But go right ahead. What are your thoughts on whatever the fuck
but I was going to say the third hour is definitely more my vibe. You know that, too, because then I don't have to watch my mouth too much.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Fucking right. Go right ahead.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, with all due respect to his soul, that fucking box guy was a character, huh? But I think, man, you did the right thing. At the end of the day, what do? People are going to assume the worst, or degenerates are going to come on here and do things with an agenda. And the fact that you can't even see your own agenda, man, you saw the Kabbalah on like freaking 20 different comments, brother. So don't worry, we're all with you, man.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not even tripping. It's like if look, no offense to flat earthers, but if you show up in the chat and you constantly talk about flat Earth when we're talking about something else, you're gone. I'm gonna fucking nuke you too. Look, you got an agenda. You show up and you like spew that like fucking vomit all over the rest of us. We're not even talking about that. We're not even remotely talking about that. So go find some other flat earth or bigoted place. And I'm not saying the two things are connected. I'm saying the box guy and the flat earth are two different things. But go find your fucking people and commiserate there. Don't fucking do it here. Don't fucking do it here. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's not give those guys any more air. What's on your mind in a positive way? Go ahead.
Touche. My bad, brother. Well, that did have me thinking, too, upon what Tam Bam and you guys were talking about. I mean, it definitely stands very true in a lot of examples. I think that, you are just the one creating everything in front of you. And you're right. Maybe I need to say this to myself here when I listen back to the show to make sure I don't sound like an idiot. But why? Get off your ass. Get up and do it. You got goals too, bro. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are absolutely right. And I appreciate you saying that too, man, because a lot of us sometimes need to hear it. We get kind of caught up and caught in awe with some of the stuff you can do on here, and James as well, and a lot of, Jen, a lot of the other people that have channels. You get in a shock and awe factor, like, man, dude, I'm not that good yet. But you're right. You should just get started, get going. And I think the reason the example I actually wanted to put with that kind of touches on multiple things. And I wanted people to notice it touches on magic, if you can find the magic in it. But it also touches on the idea of leaving something uncultivated or leaving something fully ignored, almost. I believe it was the same scientist who did the water experiment you guys have talked about. Maybe you guys have talked about this one before. He put rice in water in 3 different beakers, and same level. One of them, he did the same thing, positive encouragement, words of affirmation. On the second one, he did more negative things. And then on the third one, he left it alone completely. Didn't even talk to it at all.
Wait.
After the experiment was done, the first one...
Real quick, let me interject. So,
go ahead.
Does that mean he like smacked the middle beaker and spit on it and like said dirty things to it? What? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
He would say dirt. Yeah, he would just say dirt. As far as I know, dirty things. As far as I know, I mean, it's not that X-rated in the third hour. But
I just wanted to. I was like, wait, how do you do dirty things to water and rice? But anyway, there you go. To leave that to the imagination of the individual.
But yeah, I guess like speaking to it.
Go ahead.
Touche. And then on the last one, I guess supposedly what was said, and I watched this on a thing called. It's a new thing on Gaia. It's about sound, and sound of creation is what it's called. But long story short, the last one he left completely alone during the entire experiment. After the experiment was over, the first one he said positive things to only, had a pleasant aroma as it started to ferment. The one he said negative things to just turned straight black. And then the last one he ignored completely started to rot. So, it maybe stands to show, something you leave uncultivated that you don't, go out and get, something you love, your passion, what you really want to do in life. Now, a lot of us put that on the back burner for whatever reason. I mean, that's just sitting back rotting if you're not doing anything with it. And, it doesn't take much, like you and Tanbam said, just like with the positivity of the world, is to flip that around and completely, do a 180 and start healing that energy,
Yeah, it's there. It's there for the taking, right? We just have to ask. Back to the Robert over on Rockfin. The Robert always says this. Like, and this, I'm more and more I'm starting to believe this. He says, "Look, like the universe is not there for itself; it's there for you." And think about it. The universe is infinite, from what we're told. And even Einstein wasn't sure about that. He said, I'm sure of 2 things. Number one, the universe is probably not infinite, or it might be. That's what I'm sure of, maybe. But I am sure that human stupidity is infinite, right? So think about that in terms of like positivity. Like we have unlimited, infinite positivity, and we reject it. We reject it outright because our neighbor pissed us off, or because our in-law is a dirty whatever, right? Like insert expletive here. You know what I mean? Like why you got to let any of that shit affect you? There's unlimited positivity in the ether. Get it, brother. Get it.
Yep.
Get it. Why?
Exactly.
What are we waiting
for?
Hey, the first 2.5 or 3 years of Troubled Minds, I was working a day job. I would grind just like every motherfucker else, right? And I'm not saying I'm like special at this point. I'm just saying that like I transitioned into something else that like I can work from home during, and so I have a better schedule recently. But I was waking up at the fucking crack of dawn and grinding my nuts off for 8 or 10 hours, depending on the day, and then coming home and still doing Troubled Minds, right? I'm telling you, like your energy is infinite. Get it. Just get it.
Yeah, it is.
Just get it.
Hell yeah.
Don't doubt. Just start. Don't doubt. Just start. Anyway, go ahead. It's an important message. It's something we need to talk about.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because people don't fucking understand. Like infinite positivity, and we're all like, oh, did you see what the neighbor did the other day? They didn't put their trash out on time. Who fucking cares? Literally, for God's sake, that's literally the last fucking thing on my whole mind. I don't care. I don't care. Why do you care? You know what I mean? That's like deriving value from bullshit. Why don't we derive value from the unlimited positivity in the universe? Go get it. Go fucking get it, Big Y. What else you got, man? What about magic and war? Do you think this is a thing?
I definitely think it's real. They have specific ceremony things, ceremonial things, different dictation and etiquette and rituals that are cemented in military. And maybe not everybody experienced it. I was security forces in the Air Force. I wasn't anybody special, but I experienced it. But I mean, on the same token, being in Afghanistan and feeling, I would venture to say that I actually had. I mean, I was in combat, but I was never in a position to fire back. There was a lot of crazy things. We were security on aircrafts. Basically, we would be fired upon takeoff and landing, like wherever we went in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And so, you see, I don't know, even people who, like prisoners, if you will, who we pull on, who have never been on before, who, you're making them wear almost like carpentry goggles, and then they have, like duct tape all around them so they can't really see, and they're basically wearing like orange jumpsuits and like prison sandals, and so I bring them on, and they never even been on a plane before, and these people are being taken in and stuff, and you see like the prayers they say to even just keep themselves comforted and whatnot, and you can see like a person who would like can't even like focus, just freaking out, and somebody will start praying with them, and they can't even see anything, but they know their brother or their friend or their family member is freaking out, and as the prayer comes on, you could just like, even if it's words, as a kid I didn't understand it, but still, and more so now, I don't know, it's there, the magic is there, and even if it's not on your side, and as a parent, it was definitely apparent on the other side,
Amen. Amen. so sometimes, man, you just gotta say amen, right? I think the thing too, just in all of this tonight, we're talking about war, right? We're talking about magic. We're talking about dark magic and black magic and manipulating people. Like James said earlier before we started the show, he reiterated it when he called in as well. Like, hey, like you can focus on that, on the darkness, but you can also, right, not ignore it, but reject it. And you could actually ask for something better than that from the universe. So why don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, there's coming that time, Mike, where I believe, like I've said before, I don't know if anybody's really heard me, but like the nexus points, I mean, all are really going to start aligning, and with them awakening and realizing their potential, I think. And I think this world is going to turn upside down even one more time before it goes fully fixable, you know what I'm saying? But it's an end of an age, people have to either get with a density shift or they're going to be shifted on. Plenty of examples that do, like you say, focus on that negative. And I mean, even the family that we love, that we have to sometimes, as life goes on and what we call time, we shed ourselves of our skin, whether you're a reptile or not, whether you're a snake, whether you're any type of thing that may shed or whatever you have to reference into, not everything sheds. I get that. But we as humans, we have a shedding of our spirit more so than people understand. And seasonally, the yams are meddling with it more than most people are. The yams are meddling with our souls more than we are, just by the holidays we keep and what they align with equinox and solstice wise. Why aren't we, like you said, why aren't we tapping into it? Because they're tapping into it for their agendas. So
get it, brother, get it. Hey, don't ever doubt yourself. Don't ever doubt yourself. Look, I tell this to random people too, and they look at me like I'm fucking insane. Right? I'm like why? Like literally why? You spend your whole goddamn life, doubting yourself because other people say you should. Who gives a fuck what they say? Hey, hop in this chat and fucking pop off like a. I was about to say something I would regret, like a, let's say less interested individual, Let's. I'm just telling you. Look, and I'll ban your ass instantly, right? And look, one day when there's too many fucking people in chat for me to ban you instantly, I'll turn it to slow mode, so you can't spam the chat with bullshit, and then I'll still ban you fucking instantly. Look, there's no way. Like, there's literally no way, because look, this is what's happened, and you know this, Big Y. This is what's happened in this space. And look, this is a digital space. This is virtual. This is all the shit I'm always bitching and moaning about and saying, look, the metaverse is terrible. But this, in some sense, is the metaverse, because I'm in fucking Las Vegas and you're in fucking Hawaii, and you can see me waving my fucking arms around on the fucking thing if you're watching on the screen. But we're still talking to each other.
Hell yeah.
And we're still connecting with each other in our minds, in our positivity, right? It's all real. It's real.
Yeah, I'm right.
And it doesn't have to be negative. Now, I say, I again, as a troubled mind myself, even the original troubled mind, you might say, it doesn't matter, because negativity is good if you recognize it's negative, right? That's it. It's as simple as that. You recognize it, see it in yourself, and reject it. It's literally a simple formula. It doesn't have to be anything complex at all. Recognize the negativity in yourself and reject it, and that's it. And there you go. Simple as that. You're the original trouble mind too.
Oh yeah.
You're the best, brother. You're the best. I appreciate you. Appreciate you listening.
Hey,
appreciate
man.
you calling.
Of course, brother.
Thanks for being locked into all this. You're the best.
Oh yeah, brother. No, I appreciate you. Yeah, man. I like to get you going. I like to get you really, like, from the heart, telling it like it is, telling it how you really want to be viewed, and how you really want to be seen as, what Troubled Minds is all about. You know what I mean? There's a way to do what Box was trying to do, and I believe I did it more so than he or she could. With all due respect, it's not about manipulation. It's about just seeing the light in somebody and truly letting them shine. And you let us do that every day. So sometimes, you know what I mean, we'd have to do it back to you just as much.
Mahalo. Aloha. You're the best, bro.
Hey, mahalo, bro.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for calling.
Likewise, brother. Hey, you guys have a good night.
You too, brother. Have a fantastic one. That's Big Y in Hawaii. There you go. Easy as that. Look, I'm telling you. Think about it. Think about if you can tap into unlimited positivity, why are we so down on ourselves all the time? Right? Why? Like
I'll tell you why.
Why is it war and famine and fucking hate and murder and butcher and rape and all the fucking terrible things? Why? Tam Bam?
Because some fucking dickhead somewhere in whoever's in each individual's life told you that you weren't fucking good enough. They labeled you. And who the fuck gave that person a right to label you, to tell you that you aren't good enough? As a child, you aren't born saying, "Oh, I'm not good enough." No. Someone put that shit in your fucking head. Whether it's a bully, whether it's a parent, if it's a peer or a society, someone put that shit in your fucking head, and you need to unlearn that, because everybody's individuality should be celebrated. Celebrate, or else the world will be a fucking boring place, and then I don't want to play a part in it. I celebrate the individuality of people, their minds, whatever. Yes, I get on a fucking tangent when I feel that person is wrong, but that's got nothing to do with that person. That is what I'm going through. They don't have to accept that, and that's 100% okay. My opinion means nothing. It holds no value in someone else's life, and vice versa. People need to realize that they are powerful and majestic in their own self, and they have an enormous amount of value. You wouldn't be on this earth if you didn't have value. The ocean is so vast, but it requires a drop. If you picture each person as a drop of seawater, the ocean would be lesser without that one drop. And the ocean is vast because of everyone. Little drop, their little bit of value, their contribution.
Yes.
So unlearn the bullshit that people have labeled you with. Yes. Take that label, eat it, and then shove it up your ass, and then shut it out and throw it in that person's face.
Or ignore that person entirely. I mean, I think that's the thing.
Or ignore it.
Here's I don't know who said this. Again, my head is swimming full of fantastic quotes because I'm Michael Strange, and my ego's as big as the sun. But somebody said, and I don't know who it was, but they were brilliant. But they said, what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business. None of your business. Yeah. So why? Like why consume yourself what some hater thinks? Who cares? Like literally, like
exactly.
Haters fall by the wayside the second you choose to ignore them. And I promise you, look, hey, I've got fucking tentacles coming out the back of my fucking shirt right now. They're down below and you can't see them. The second we get haters galore, I'll be able to ban them faster. You can say, what the fuck happened? Look, every other radio show, look, and I'm telling you, we are better than every other radio show. I've got 2 actual hands and 10 fucking fingers. Look, I'm reading the chat. I'm monitoring things. I'm trying to do my best. I don't catch it all. But if you're a dick, I'll see. And you're banned. And that'll continue. And if it goes too fast for me, look, mods out there too. Thank you so much for being mods. Literally, I don't want moderators. This is why, just real quick, just as an aside, for the moderators who are out there listening, like the moderators on Discord, the moderators on YouTube and everywhere else. Look, I don't want you to get in like a pissing match between some disgruntled POS. Okay, so if I want somebody banned, I'll ban them. All right. If you have a concern, send it to me. Please don't ban people unless it's obvious and it's spam and it's a bot. Ban them. Right. That's why moderators help, and I appreciate that very much. I do appreciate free speech, and I think people should be able to speak their mind. But this, at this point, has become our platform collectively. And if you want to come in here and spout some Nazi bullshit about like whatever the fuck, you're gone. Right. And so if it's not obvious as obvious, let it slide for a minute. If there's an issue, send it to me and I'll ban them, because I don't want you to be the person that was right. Oh, the Nazi mods and this. No, it was me. I'm taking that responsibility and you're fucking gone. Right? I don't want that drama. I don't want the drama between me and you and them. I want it to be me that said, fuck you, you're gone. If you got a problem, you come at me. You see what I'm saying? It's my way of also, like, you're helping me. I also want to protect you in those cases. Meaning, I just don't want drama. I've done this before in different communities, Twitch and other places. And Jesus Christ, like the amount of like drama that happens between people that in these moderation situations, it's like fuck. Like one person's values is another person's, I don't know. It just becomes a shit show. So please, the moderators out there, I appreciate you so much. If it's not clearly obvious as fuck, just let it slide. Like that box guy, again, I hate to give it air. Come back when you fucking learn something about life. But look, you come back and you do that same shit again and you're nuked instantly. All right, and so that's what I'm saying. So just let it slide. Like sometimes people say something off color, trying to get a response, and then they don't, and then they chill out and start being real, right? So anyway, just an FYI to people listening, because I know like basically the people who moderate this show on not just a YouTube but also on Discord, you know, there's no clear instructions other than I said let it go. And if you got an issue, send it to me, and I'll nuke them, and it'll be my responsibility. I'm the target. I don't want you to be the target. Okay, that's all. That's all. So thank you guys for all that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get the fuck out of here. And let's see who's been quiet the longest. Daryl in New York. You there? You still there? You got something to say? Test 1 2. Welcome. Hello. Let's get the fuck out. We're into the 4th hour, Daryl. Hey, Daryl, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained, Daryl?
I love this show. I love you. I love this show. I wanted to say something about something.
Sure, go
Maybe
ahead.
this isn't magic. This is collective consciousness. I think it's actually scientifically maybe plausible that it's not actual magic. It's actual physics. It's actual science. That when people get together and really think positive, we can change the world. Like Margaret Mead says.
Margaret Mead. All right, we're going to have to do that. We got a couple outros for tonight. Margaret Mead. We're going to do it. We're going to do that one, Daryl, because I think it's more pertinent than ever. 100%. Thanks for being you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being patient. And thanks for all your input. You're the best.
Thank you. You are the best. Thank you for a great show. And everybody that called in was awesome. I love all of you. You're so smart and you're so clever and so cool.
Thank you. And you as well. Appreciate it. Who's been super quiet? James, let's go back to James. Thanks, Daryl. James?
Yeah, no, just great calls from everyone. And, I think I said what I needed to say in the chat overall.
Okay. All right.
Regarding a lot of things. So
you did on some people? Did you dunk on some folks and say, motherfucker, get the fuck out? Is that what you said in the chat, James?
Not necessarily. I just quoted a favorite t-shirt slogan of mine that I like a lot.
All right. I'm just checking. I just wanted to make sure, James, because if you are, I want to be like, James, do you think that's a little rough? Should we back off of that a little bit? But you're like, no, I didn't do that, so we're fine.
I just said come back when you're not a moron. That's
yeah, that's right. I did like that. That's a t-shirt. That's totally a t-shirt.
I think so. Yeah.
I'd wear the shit out of that. And there it is. I think just people get the wrong idea, right? They come and I think Derek was right too. This guy wanted to like bait me into saying some bullshit that I didn't want to say. But guess what? Look, I control my mind, not you. Right? Not whoever the fuck comes in here with whatever kind of political bullshit and tries to get me to say, right? They're used to like that happening in different places. James, I'm smarter than that.
Well, and even that t-shirt slogan, that's like not just telling someone go away and don't come back. You know, that's not even really being that mean. That's just saying, come back when you can be okay with everyone and
right, exactly.
Not be mean to them.
You can say it, James. Say it. Come on, James. Say it, James. What's the full slogan that needs to be a t-shirt? What's the term?
Well, I mean, I would probably just replace moron with asshole, but I'd become
come back when you're not an asshole. There you go. Yeah. That needs to be a t-shirt. Yeah. You're the best, James. James, again, Tam Bam, James, Daryl, links in the description. Follow all these fine folks. You're the best, James. Thanks for being the glue of this show. Look, like I said, it's super critical. Like I said, if you guys don't think that like James is important, and I know you do, right? But I'm just saying, in terms of a talk show that relies on people calling in and having a conversation, if nobody calls early, James jumps in to like pick up the slack, right? If he does and everybody comes around him and calls, he'll be like, no, take everybody else and I'll wait. You understand? Like there's like a critical juncture of like, is this going to tip to good or bad? That James is always on the tip of making sure that this ends up right. And like I said, I can't thank you enough, James. So please, Salcedo Paranormal, come follow this man. You're the best, brother. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're incredible.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Right on. Let's do it. Let's roll the fuck out of here. Who else? Who's been waiting for super long? APOC, you got anything for us? I know your voice was bad. You don't have to say anything.
Well, I will just say, walk in love, like I usually put in the text. Walk in love, and I think if we can remember to do that, everyone will be great. Just great.
Oh, just dandy. Oh, yeah. We can dream, can't we? We can dream.
We can.
We're allowed, like I said, that with infinite positivity in the universe, why don't we tap it? Let's tap the fucking thing for once, please. and APOC's definitely on that train for 100%. I'm walking on the positive universe train, and I'm like going through cars, and I'm like, APOC, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, this is not a coincidence. You want to play poker? Let's sit down and play. There you go. In the imaginary universe is APOC, and I'll sit down on the positive universe train, have tea, and play a little poker, because why not? There you go. You are also invited on that train, because it's if the universe is unlimited in positivity, there's room enough for you. There it is. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I'll play positive poker anytime.
There you go. See, I knew it. I already knew it. All right, let's roll it. We got some outros here. Again, give APOC a follow. Links in the description. Apocalypse Tau podcast, which I'm going to be on one of these days. You'll see. I promise you. I'm going to twist some arms and make this happen. Let's roll it. Tam Bam, anything real quick before I smash the music?
I just want to say, if someone has the power to blow black negative smoke your way, you have the power to block it with your golden shield.
Amen.
So if you have an imagination of that, you just block that shit.
Amen. Well, it's an imaginary smoke cloud anyway, so you ought to be able to imagine a defense mechanism, and there we go. All right. Yeah, there you go. Tam Bam, link in the description. Follow. She's an influencer on TikTok, and one day she's going to take troubled minds to the moon. You're the best, Tam Bam.
I've got some good news.
Oh, good news. All right.
I got my first brand deal yesterday.
Oh, you got a brand deal. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations. Keep trucking. Look, this is the thing. Time and pressure, and pretty soon they'll be begging you, and that's how it works, right? They want people with eyeballs on. Look, there are shortcuts too, like regarding troubled minds. Like I could make these shows super short. I could, I know what I'm doing here, but I'm not putting you down. I'm not I'm not making the two things different, right? But I'm just saying that, like, I'm saying there are a million different ways to do things, and do the things in your life that make the most sense to you. That's all I'm saying.
What you're doing here is magical. You don't understand the power of what you're doing.
Oh, I do.
Do you really comprehend?
Oh, I do. That's why I do it. That's why I spend all the time I do. I do. Like I said, look, you guys, it's 4 hours right now. It's 4 hours plus, right? I spent
It's the best 4 hours ever.
I spent 2.5 hours prepping. I'll spend 2 more hours afterward cutting up podcasts and editing the things and sending the stuff to like radio stations that are playing us and supposedly perump, and you know what I mean? Like I'm literally, the time you see me here on the fucking like bonged on the camera, we're gonna do a thing with the fucking, is like half of the time I spend. So this is what I'm saying to you. I would not be doing it if I didn't think it was important. I know, Tam Bam. Thank you for
it's more
validating the magic. I know it's magic. I know. I concede.
But it's family.
Rohan wins. I concede. But don't tell him that, because I'm about to be on this podcast one of these days soon, and I'm going to refute the fact that I believe magic is real. Tam Bam, you're the best. Link in the description. Tam Bam, all those stuff. Let's roll it. I'm smashing the thing. We got a couple outros here. Outros go like this. We got James. You want to do the one, or you want me to do the one for you?
I can do the one.
All right. So here's the thing. We're doing a couple outros. We got one from Daryl in New York. I'll read that one. We got one from James. All right. And as we finish, well, the bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we got tomorrow. And until then, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, the James Tro.
Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. From Oscar Wilde.
There you go. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Brilliant words. This one is from Daryl in New York. And this is the fact of the fucking matter. From Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed. It's the only thing that ever has. Daryl, that one's for you. I love that one very much. All right, let's get the fuck out. Look, happy Friday, happy Trouble Minds Friday. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. Is the news show. If you guys are missing the news show, we do 2 extra shows a week, Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific. You're missing the fuck out of it. It does hit the podcast feed, so if you're listening to just the podcast feed, you'll hear it. But if you want the live experience, come say hi. It's super short. It's like an hour. We talk about news. It's fast, blah, 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 and done. It's cool. I think it's important, and it's allows us to fill in the gaps between these Troubled Minds shows that are more sort of topical, right? It's a good thing. All right, so as we finish, I don't know what to say other than I can't thank each and every one of you guys enough, because this is, again, as Tam Bam said, magical. And I agree. It's back when this started, Frank and I were talking about this, and the idea was, hey, imagine one day being able to do a talk show and have just random people call in and contribute in amazing ways. We made it, fam. We made it. And you are all the amazing people out there. And the folks that can't catch us live, you're also, because you appreciate all the rest of us and you're part of that fam. Extended fam, there you go. You're all the weird cousins and shit that nobody talks to, but we love you anyway. There it is, right? Come drop into the live show and give us a call from time to time. All right, so let's get the fuck out. It goes like this. As we finish, if you want to help the show, a few ways. Troubledfans.com. Buy the merch. Rockfin. Sub up. Patreon. Twitch, you can sub up. If you don't want to spend money, I completely understand, or don't have it to spend. Spread the word. Tell people there's a conversation going on. That's not political. It's not bullshit. It's about people. It's not about anything else. And I think that's as simple as that. It's simple, but it's not simple. But it's simple, but it's not simple, right? You see how the world was upside down, but it doesn't have to be. But all right, so let's get the fuck out. And it goes exactly like this. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. for the news show. Have a fantastic weekend. Be sure, be strong, be true. You like my timing? It's almost like I've done this before. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.